All right, we are live. I don't know if I am or not. Let me check. That's a good question. I'm having to go through and redo all my subscriptions to everybody because of the channel change. But let's see. Um, 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 um. Yes, I am now. I could have been subscribed to you, and it would have been removed. I mean, YouTube has removed a bunch of subscriptions that I just subscribed to. So I'll go through and watch your older videos from a few from Rolling Ahead to Thompson. Gotta watch the last two. Those are the only two I've missed. Have I missed any lives? No. So I haven't missed any new lives that you've done, but I have missed two of your videos, and I'll watch them later. When I uh, remember when I talked about, I'm afraid I'm going to break the filament printer again if I touch it. Well, one of the plugs that I had crimped, one of the wires broke when I touched it when I was putting it all back together. So I have to get in and solder I have to solder a new connector on and recrimp the stuff. And so that filament printer's giving me fits. But I think it's ready to go. I'm not sure. I'll, I'm taking it one step at a time. But what we have here is, here, let me move mouse to where he needs to be. There we go. Uh, a review of Mark Sargent versus an astrophysicist named Dr. Jeff Zwirink on Jesse Lee Peterson's channel. So, in the conservative movement, Jesse Lee Peterson is a pretty big deal, and he's a clown. Every time he opens his mouth, the only thing I see is, "Hi, I'm Jeff Bellows," or is it Jeff Bellows? Who is it? Let's see. Safari Planet. I have to look that up. Brian Fellows. I'm Brian Fellows. That's who he reminds me of. So yeah, that's he's funny. Let me go to YouTube Studio, open that up. Can we hear me okay? Yeah. Live, and we're there. Cool. So now I can communicate to you with text. Can't do that in Streamlabs. It says I have to sign in to chat, but I'm already signed in. My account's already linked to YouTube, so I don't understand the people that made Streamlabs. But anyway, on with the show.
Share the show and
Oh, they're oop, that's not right. Hold on a second. There we go. That should work.
let everybody
Yeah,
know we
that's
are
better.
live. So we
All
got
right.
Mark on tonight, guys.
Let me turn them
Mark
on.
Sargent. He debated a astrophysicist, Dr. Jeff Swirink. Don't know who Jeff Swirink is, but he's apparently got his doctorate in Christian. He's a Christian, but he's got his doctorate in astrophotography or something. So very interesting stuff. So we're going to go through a debate they had and see what was said there. I didn't watch a lot of it,
But the resin printer is working really, really well. I had to work. I used auto support for this thing, and it didn't. The little cross members are so small. It just tried to peel the supports off. It broke some of the smaller parts. But I mean that's a fucking milk crate. I shrunk a milk crate down to like 30 millimeters. Isn't that cool? I mean, the detail on this is amazing. And if I could have written right the label of the milk company here, it would have shown up. This resin printer has 35 micron accuracy.
what I did watch,
I mean, that's pretty damn good. That's 35 one thousandths of a millimeter.
I think there's some things we have to correct on Mark's side as well that I think he should have maybe answered differently.
That he's an idiot and he doesn't know what he's talking about and he's a fucking liar because he's a liar and promised that he would delete his channel and get out of flat Earth if someone sent him evidence that he asked for. And after hundreds of people sent him evidence, he lied and went back on his word. Is that the correction you're going to do?
But most of it would be, the same old stuff. The arguments are,
Well,
look at sky, therefore Earth.
yeah.
What platform? Whose platform was this on?
This is on a big platform. I don't know if you know the Fallen State.
No.
Wait, I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
He's got a big channel.
Can I just
Fallen.
problem for me is you have like people like Matt Sargent and your Dave Weiss, and they're going all over on YouTube and they're saying things like flat earthers believe this and flat earthers believe that, and that's not necessarily the case. They're not talking for me.
Aye.
You know what I mean? They're not talking for
Right.
me. These people aren't talking for me.
It's a broad group.
The funny thing is when MC Toon says that the heliocentric model says this, the globe Earth says this, the globe Earth says this, completely agrees with what I say it does. Because me and MC Toon and FTFE and every other glober, baller that you like to call us, we go by science and what science has proven and what it's established and the facts that it gives us. So that's the difference between us and you. You're a ragtag bunch of cult members who can't agree on one single thing, and we don't. We require evidence to convince us of anything. So,
Roger let off another $2, which says, watch the
Yeah.
Rugrats, you'll get it. Oh, yeah, no, don't. Rugrats is an awesome show, by the way.
So are they just debate? So are they just doing a normal like flat Earth debate, or is it something like specific?
It's more like an interview kind of debate thing going on. But that's how that guy does it.
it will probably go something like, "Hey, you say you're a scientist. Are you gay? Are you a child molester?" That's probably how it'll go.
From the state debate.
Unless Jesse's changed any. Are you Satan?
Isaac Jesse Lee Peterson.
I'm sorry. Are you Satan? You got to pinch your nose when you talk like Jesse Lee Peterson.
I don't know his real name.
Because he goes on, because like that's his channel, The Fallen State. That's why you know.
Yeah. But he usually does this kind of thing.
He is basically what, and I don't want to seem racist at all, but he is what you would call an Uncle Tom. He cows to the right wing that oppresses him. Put it that way.
Asks people questions and he has them on as a debate. So it's quite good. PJ Cruikshank, thank you for your £20 super chat. Good to see you back. Chennai support.
Hey, real Cygnus. Yeah, absolutely.
Really appreciate the Chennai support, man. You rock. You're awesome, man, and really appreciate it. You are a good thing. Yeah. Thank you very much. And I have to give a huge shout out to PJ and Vicky as well. They gave an awesome present to my wife for her birthday. She says a huge thank you to you guys and everybody that said happy birthday. So you guys really rock. Appreciate it.
She's welcome. She's welcome.
The cruel part of me wants to say, were those divorce papers? Because if your wife is smart, she'd want to have nothing to do with you.
And she's really appreciated. Okay, so what do you guys think is going to happen? Let's first look at the votes.
Let's see. Mark will deny every bit of evidence presented to him. He will lie about reality. Jesse Lee will ask someone if he's a Satan worshiper or gay or if he thinks women are men. The third thing is just cake.
We already got 18 votes now. Mark did a good job. Yes, 39%.
Man,
no, 17%.
my nose
And
is
maybe
ticklish.
not sure, 44%. It's quite.
Now, I haven't seen Jesse Lee Peterson in a while, so I've only seen his older work.
Good. Hey, Conspiracy
So I may just be talking shit.
Music Guru's in. What's up, man? Glad to have you in. Yeah, you see, Mark was an opening door for a lot of people, man. I think when it comes to
Yeah, a lot of gullible people were taken in by his talk.
people like Mark and Eric Dubay and things like you were saying, that's all good and well to get everybody into the flat Earth. But I think they need to up their game a bit now and try and
Lie more, be honest.
get further in it, and
What-
because people get stuck if they just
What do you mean?
carry on just listening to them. You understand? They need to get
What
further.
do you mean?
You mean people do not progress intellectually when they get stuck in an echo chamber? You mean like that?
Because they push an entry level flat Earth. So when you get to it,
Kinda.
it's like, sorry.
I mean, some of them go. I mean, like some of Eric Dubay's articles and videos are quite in depth, I would say.
No, they're plagiarized from Sammy Robotham, and that's all. Eric Dubay has no originality in anything that he does.
Like, if you
he
watch
just
some of his stuff, it's like
recycles same information. Put it that way. That's what I say about Eric Dubay. He doesn't go into great detail to
They
explain.
all
something.
serve the purpose for one thing, and,
Yeah.
and that's the points of why Earth's flat. But like me being a Christian, I could never ever show another Christian Eric Dubay's videos because he's anti-Christian, so I
Yeah,
can't
he's an
share that.
antichrist.
But you support him, right? That makes you a hypocrite. So you're a closet hypocrite.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Mark Sargent, yeah, he had some good points. He did his like 100 proofs or whatever, but
No, he didn't.
he's on gambling adverts and linking that with flat Earth, and I can't accept that either. You know, it's like, yeah, they were all good for a purpose at the beginning, but now they're all has-beens as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he is rocking that widow's peak, isn't he?
I mean, like Eric's never been, well, I mean, like at least online,
I remember having a hairline like that.
he's never been a pusher of Christianity though. So like, he's not changed. He's just like stayed the same.
No, I
Yeah,
know,
but
like,
he
but
specifically goes out
like-
to attack Christianity, though. He's got some vendetta against Christianity.
My
But before we
point-
go on,
yeah,
I just want to say thank you, Miss Mod Queen Bee for another £10 super chat. Really appreciate it. Says, Chane support. Keep up the great work. Really appreciate it, man.
Yep. But
Rob,
my point, L, is that
What is Chane?
there's a lot of Christians who don't see flat Earth.
Yeah,
Aye,
absolutely.
definitely.
And Eric DeBay's videos would open their eyes, but I can't share it with him because he's anti-God, he's anti-Christian.
yeah,
like.
yeah.
I can't share that.
Hmm.
It was
and then-
good for me back in there.
Look at the cognitive dissonance. This is truly a physical pain that he is causing. Physical pain is being caused by his love for Eric Dubay and his hate for Eric Dubay.
Eric DeBay woke me up. Don't get me wrong, but I cannot share that.
Well,
Whoa.
a great channel
Yes, he's woke now. He has a special knowledge.
that anybody can watch. I've thought about before is Don't Sphere the Truth. He's definitely a Christian.
No, he's not.
And then I say Roger Ledwell for another $2 super said, we do.
If you claim to be a Christian and you say that God created a flat earth, you're a liar and you're not a Christian.
Trust these liars. Thank you very much for another super chat, man. Really, I
And if you say you're a Christian because God created a flat earth, you're a liar.
really appreciate it. You rock. Look, I think with Eric DeBay, he recycles
I believe in the Easter Bunny because Santa created it.
arguments. Like he just said,
That's how ridiculous your argument is. I believe in the Easter Bunny because Santa created it.
okay, density. He doesn't really go into the depth of how it works. That's what I'm trying to say. Like Michael says, the issue with him is you can't really share him to people based on our Christianity stance.
No.
I can, for instance, go and say, okay, yeah, go look at his 200 proofs or whatever you want, but I'm not going to go out and say, oh, just, actually subscribe to him and watch his stuff, because they're going to end up seeing, yes, this guy hates Christians like with a passion for some odd reason. And everything he presents about Christianity is false. It's wrong.
Aye, like he's got a new video about like the Gnostic creation story.
Wow, the hypocrisy is just chef's kiss.
You understand? He pushes
promotes
things
stuff
that
like
are.
that.
Yeah, it's that's the only thing.
Hey, did you just pick your nose, Flatside? Did you just pick your nose?
You understand? He pushes
promotes
things
stuff
that
like
are.
that.
Yeah, it's
Hold on, we're gonna pull a flat Earth on him. Oops.
You understand? He pushes
promotes
things
stuff
that
like
are.
that.
Yeah, it's that's the only thing that
There we go. Stop the recording.
puts you off with him. And then, like I said, Mark Sargent, like he gives up some red flags of the kind
I'm gonna do a flat Earth editing job.
of connections he's got. Do you know what I mean? It's all good and well that he gets people into flat Earth, but I still think he should go that extra mile and say, okay, look, yeah, we can go further, instead of just saying, okay, yeah, we just this dome kind of thing, because he still does push the same kind of arguments that the Globus are like, dude, we've
That the Globers have completely debunked. Yeah, because he's a liar, like you.
debunked this like in 2015 kind of thing. You know what I mean?
The problem for me is, like, you can bring somebody into a flat Earth and then you can gatekeep them. You know what I mean? And that is the issue for me.
Aye.
Eric DeBay, Matt Sargent, yeah, they might have thousands of people up, and God bless them for that. But moving forward, they're no good in my eyes whatsoever. No good.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's
that's
like a
continually
catch-22 kind of thing.
Mm.
Roger
Yeah.
Edwell again for another $2 says, why do we trust these liars? My bad. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with Michael when it comes to the Christian side of it. I wouldn't recommend him for any kind of spiritual advice whatsoever. Yes.
Oh no, definitely
Oh,
not.
wait a
I
second.
wouldn't
Hold on.
do that either. Like when I was looking at his website, I was like, why has he got so many weird articles
There we
about
go.
all this weird stuff?
That's better.
Like, what?
That's better. Sorry, I'm trying to organize this thing so I can see where are we at. There, that's what I wanted. And what we can do is do this, because we don't need to see them. And then we'll add a new thing. A Windows capture. No, not a Windows capture. Display capture. Or actually, no, here. I know what we'll do. We'll copy it, go to the new scene, and we'll paste. There we go. Now, I can have this full screen. There, that's better. Pull this down here. Cool, that works.
Because you'd end up being into some kind of yogi. You'd be some kind of yogi type dude and something like that if you believe what
I
you
like, and also like the veganism stuff. I was pretty surprised. Like, wait, what?
But for waking people up to flat Earth, yeah, you did it. Like Michael said, you did that. It was good blessing for that. You did that.
And also,
but going forward, I wouldn't recommend them. No.
Even more than that, though, because like he does talk about loads of stuff. But I do get what you're saying. Like you'd have to be careful with what you show people of him.
Yeah.
Also, it turns people.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna run a little bit slow because I'm streaming and
off. Like if you're trying to get like your like Christian friends in the flat Earth, they'd be like, wait, why are they all vegans and like pagans and like weirdos? Like it seems demonic. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But what you should do is you should.
Oh wait, I gotta go back. Gotta go back here. Hold on.
Yeah, they might have thousands of people up, and God bless them for that. But
I can't do it. I fucked up. See what I did? See what I did? I recorded it with the mouse over his face, so I can't do it. So anyway, I'll sort it out later.
No, I wouldn't do that either. Like when I was looking at his website, I was like, why has he got so many weird articles about all this weird stuff? Like what?
Because you'd end up being into some kind of yogi. You'd be some kind of yogi type dude and something like that if you believe what you say.
And also like the veganism stuff. I was pretty surprised. Like, wait, what?
But for waking people up to flat Earth, yeah, you did it. Like Michael said, you did that. It was good blessing for that. You did that.
And also,
but going forward, I wouldn't recommend them. No.
Even more than that, though, because like he does talk about loads of stuff. But I do get what you're.
Free restream? What is restream? I'll have to check it out.
Like you'd have to be careful with what you show people of him.
Yeah.
Also, it turns people off. Like if you're trying to get like your like Christian friends in the flat Earth, they'd be like, wait, why are they all vegans and like pagans and like weirdos? Like it seems demonic. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But what you should do is you should show them like. Well, there's a great documentary. Sov was watching at his channel, Heliosorcery. That's a Christian documentary. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, that is brilliant.
It's a masterpiece, honestly. Like I really like it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I see that I could share. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That is brilliant. That I could share, but I can't share Eric the Bear when he's talking what things he does. Like it's just not.
Roger Level for another $2 super chat. Thank you very much. He says, hats off, Conspiracy Guru. Yeah. Conspiracy Guru doing.
Yeah, Restream is on his. That's what he's using that as a platform.
An awesome job, man. Really appreciate
it.
it.
I love his songs.
Yeah, he's got some awesome music.
I was singing his Gravity song today to myself. It's just a banger. I love it so much.
Yeah, he's cool. Okay. We can at least go on tonight till about 11:30. So we got a half an hour extra tonight, which is great because my wife has a class at 11 o'clock. So.
Got ya.
It's weird. Someone actually booked her for a class 11 o'clock at night.
Ah.
Yeah.
What is it she
Same.
does?
What does she teach like?
She teaches English.
Ah, good.
Yeah,
That's
to Chinese students.
I might book a lesson.
good.
She ought to teach you some, man. Really, seriously. She needs to teach you how words work. For instance,
What is a independent variable?
What
can you see? No, you can't see it. And what the hell
that'll be
happened
interesting.
here? What the? Cannot stand OBS. For instance,
is that?
Yes. Do you even know what the word independent means?
Yeah, like by itself, I think.
Singular.
no, it doesn't.
Singular, exactly.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Doesn't need anyone else.
Independent.
Independent dictionary, mathematics. An independent variable, plural noun, independent variable. Variable often denoted by x whose variation does not depend on that of another. There may be more than one dependent variable and or independent variables. This is especially true if you're conducting an experiment with multiple stages or sets of procedures. So no, it does not mean singular, you dummy. Does not mean singular.
Doing
Good
well with
idea.
I'd
that.
love to be a fly on the wall during that. That'd be interesting.
Mm.
But yeah, she's enjoying it. So that's a good thing. Okay, so let's get this on the started. That's the Jeff guy, astrophysicist Dr. Jeff Zwirink. And obviously that's Mark Sargent, and that's the guy, the Fallen State dude. Yeah.
You hear
I
because
like that
I
guy.
have no idea how
If
to.
you need a pause, just say I.
And his name's not Jeff Peterson, it's Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah, I was got just say
Flat
just
everything
talk to the
here.
devil, let's stick them more
And so-
now.
Hey, good to see you, man. He says, I've just watched the 30-minute video of you and Bob, the fallacy guy, and how every single point he made was wrong. Every single bluff debate is like this. They get everything wrong, but just because. But that's how it is.
Really? He got everything wrong? Even when he backed up everything he said with evidence and citations? He got everything wrong? Huh, that just sounds like spoiled grapes to me. Who said that? Who's the idiot who said that? Oops.
Anthony, who bluffed the video of you and Bob, the fallacy guy, and how every single point he made. He says, I've just watched the 30-minute video of you and Bob, the fallacy guy, and how every single point he made was wrong. Every single bluff debate is like this. They get everything wrong, but just because. But that's how it is, Anthony. As I say, I got citation after
Anthony's a dummy.
citation showing what I can, okay, showing what I said is correct. Yet they just deny it, play the winning game,
Aye.
and then just say we're dumb. In the meantime, they
Yes, we prove that you're dumb by presenting evidence and citations and proofs. Yes, we do prove that you're dumb. You deny everything presented to you. See, that's how dishonest you are.
got nothing right.
Well, look at Ruif, man. Definition of the word means nothing. You know what I mean? It's like,
Say what? You dummy? He's smarter than you are. He's proven that he's smarter than all five of you. Or six of you.
how do you debate people that think like that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitions mean nothing. Yeah, of course.
He
Yeah.
was on the
Oh my God.
24/7
Yeah, Stinky Cash is a piece of work.
Discord server saying that was hilarious. Like, they were posting like 10 different dictionaries. He was like, I don't care about dictionaries. I don't care about words. Words aren't real. Words don't prove anything.
Exactly.
Well, Right. Definitions aren't proof. Yes. We refer to dictionaries to know what things are, but definitions of things in dictionaries aren't proof. Those can change from dictionary to dictionary. Proof can't.
It's unreal.
How do you debate somebody like that though? It's
I
like,
know
What
if
is this
you're
moron?
I don't know, how do you debate somebody? You're chicken, Michael. You're terrified to debate anyone. So what are you asking the question for?
you
talking,
might as well just you might as well just be pissing all are you saying?
Simply Herb Gelato 33.
No,
What?
pissing against the wind. Piss against the wind. Push against the wind. That's it.
like
Yeah.
if every single sentence is talking past somebody, a debate cannot be done.
That's true. But that's why I like Jaren's new platform, and that's how he does it. I think it's brilliant.
It is good.
It
It is
stops the
good.
people really over talking each other. So yeah, do shout out to Jaren with that.
Oh yeah, he's a great a great moderator. Everyone says,
Oh, it's a strain. Okay. Gotcha.
but
Yeah,
it's
for
just,
sure.
he's just amazing.
Do you know Matters now is moaning about Jaren?
I kind of wish it was gelato, man. I'd love to have some ice cream right now.
Saying he's a bad moderator. He's very biased. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
He's very bad. I mean, obviously, like he's a flat earther.
They said Jaren kept on jumping in for me in the debate with Bob. No, he didn't. What the rubbish is that?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he jumped in for you. He most certainly did. He most certainly did. Why are you lying, Flatzoid?
Biased. He's meant to be a flat earther, but he doesn't jump in for. He stays
You
on.
did ask a couple of questions.
Debate. Wait.
No, he white knighted when Bob was talking about a plane on a spherical Earth. He jumped in and said, "But Flatzoid doesn't believe that the Earth is flat. Earth is a sphere."
To say he didn't do anything. One time in the debate, he stopped Bob and said he doesn't believe it's a globe, so it's a non sequitur. That's it, just to keep him on.
Right. That's him jumping in and helping you out. So you just lied, knowing that you lied.
Point. He didn't stick up for me. He didn't do anything for me because I was going to say that anyway.
Oh, are you? Oh, were you?
You've got to understand that ballers don't even understand that.
No.
You know what I mean? But like, if you want to talk about bad mods, let's talk about MDD.
Ryan.
And Blow-In.
Ryan's a bad mod.
And Blow-In, he's the worst.
No. Owen Benjamin has got to be the worst.
Blow-In Benjamin, honestly, what an embarrassment of a man.
Holy
Well, you do got that right. You most certainly have that right.
You were debating, didn't you?
Which was the moderator in that debate?
I just got to shout out Angela Baby Carson. She's bought a T-shirt from me, an apron from me, and now she's bought a hoodie as well. So one of these days she's going to have to be modeling my merch. So really appreciate all the support, Angela.
If
really
you go
awesome
to her page, she does model your merch on her page. I've seen it. Yeah.
She does. She doesn't have model it.
Yeah, she doesn't have model it, does she?
Enough said.
But yeah, I really appreciate it, Angela, all the support, and it's good. She says it's very good quality, so that's what I'm happy about. She says the quality is very good, and so that's what counts. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's carry on with these guys. It's going to be interesting.
Omar, you're like one of the leading people in this whole flat
I'm Brian Fellows.
Earth idea, right?
Yeah.
Have you always believed that the Earth was flat?
No.
No. Leader. He's no leader. No.
Jesse Lee Peterson has no sense of self-awareness.
Oh, this is what annoys me.
Oh, PAX is a good device.
What is it with these people always needing a leader?
I know.
Why do they, especially by people that don't even know where the hell they're going in the first place. Look, I've never needed anybody to lead me. Okay?
Me neither.
I don't get that shit. These people, they've gone through this programming so badly that this idea of hierarchy is just like tattooed into their brain somehow. I don't know how they can't not escape that. I'm my own leader. I'm my own hero.
But more to the
You're your own citations.
point, who said that these are his leaders? Like, you know, 'cause
Exactly.
he
Exactly. I
might.
hate that.
Who knows?
I hate that.
Who knows?
But you see, that's the thing. He just accepted as, yeah, I'm a leader. It's like, who made you the leader? No one's made you a leader.
No.
That's
No,
my
exactly.
point. Why? Why just say yeah?
You know,
Just say no. There are no leaders in flat Earth.
this is problem with
No, only followers. There are no leaders, only followers.
flat Earth, right? People wake up from heliocentrism and they want a replacement.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
is the
exactly. They're all about being like a skeptic, right? And about the globe, and then they end up getting dogmatically attached to some random guy on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. It's like, wait, what? You don't think this random
The hypocrisy is just amazing. Yeah, you hitch your wagon to an idiot on YouTube. Yeah. Spoken like a true cult leader or cult member.
thing that no one can prove anyway? You're not real. You're controlled. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, there's nobody has to take leadership roles in flat Earth because there are no such thing as leadership roles in flat Earth. So just have to say that. Roger Ledwell for another Tuesday says,
Man, don't let Nathan Oakley hear you say that.
"Hey, Owen is a great man." Quote Owen.
Yeah.
Owen's a big Owen Benjamin fan.
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense. They're both completely unhinged.
I used to like Owen Benjamin at stage, but I stopped watching him because he has very radical things
Do you know,
and beliefs that
do you
he
know
says.
what? Do you know what makes me laugh with Owen Benjamin? Right, all his followers were bears, and if that's not a if that's not a sheep thing, I don't know what it is. Like
bear
Dude,
cardio.
I've actually had.
And actually, a bear is a big, hairy gay man. That's what a bear is.
Had a guy, he popped on my thing because I was saying some
Something
shit
that one
about
of
Owen
the
Benjamin.
viewers made up, dude.
And the guy came on. I'm sorry, did my talking get in the way of your interruption, Ryan?
that's Ryan. Ryan don't know when to talk.
So, and immediately a guy with a bear name come on and was taking it personal. I said, my friend, you're in a cult. And he goes, how do you figure? I said, did I say anything about you? And he said, no.
Oh, you can get high as hell from vaped weed, from spent vaped weed. When I was living in San Francisco and I didn't have the money to buy any, I'd go to the vape lounges and just ask for their stuff they were going to throw away. Doesn't taste the greatest, but vaping doesn't the temperature that it vapes at doesn't degrade a lot of the qualities of pot. So, yeah, I used to have bags of that stuff. And yeah, you can cook it. You can cook with it.
And I said, then why are you acting like I was talking about you?
Has a toasty flavor.
Well, look at this. Israel Aid, I was digging this until you guys started bashing Owen. No one's bashing him. We just saying straight. He was not a good moderator.
Why does he care? Like, is Owen his like brother or something? Who cares?
Yeah, he was supposed to be a moderator in a debate, and he.
So this thing's gone on for 25 minutes, and they still haven't gotten to the debate. They're still poisoning the well.
More than the debaters.
I know. Whitsit was the moderator.
Let me put this into.
Didn't start till your late 50s. Wow, you are a late bloomer. We had a guy at Eastwind at the commune I was living at he was 45 when he started, and he was some country boy from Arkansas that had never even heard of weed. I mean, he lived on the farm only. I mean, he'd never even stepped off the farm. And when he discovered that, dude, he was like a kid.
Context, right? If you think you were going to come in and say we're bashing Owen, yeah, we are. So
Yeah, we
jog on.
are. He's a
He's in place for
he's a
you,
bomb.
mate.
Hey, Stanley.
He's a bomb.
If you follow him, Benjamin, there's something wrong with you.
My favorite two strains are Blue Dream and Jack Harrer. My favorite stony weed is one that it's kind of hard to get anymore. Is Matanuska Thunderfuck, and that's not me cursing. That's the name of the strain. It is frickin' phenomenal.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, come
Like
on,
I say,
like,
I used to watch him till I wisened up, till I realised. You know what I mean?
I've never watched him, never liked him.
same.
Is Hollywood
Yeah, he's come from Hollywood.
through
He's
the
been in
car?
Adam,
The problem is
been in Adam Sandler movies, stuff like
the
that.
problem I just can't. I mean, everybody for their own. You get different type of comedy that you like, and unfortunately, his vulgar comedy he has it just doesn't appeal to me.
Because he's vulgar.
It's
Below
not for me. You know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, let's move on to this 5-year-old debate. Apparently, it's 5 years old. Well, I didn't know about that, but it's just interesting the conversation they had.
Oh, not at all.
At one point, you believed that it was round.
We don't even say round. We say globe or ball or sphere, because technically a dinner plate is round, a dining room table is round. But yes, I was in the globe camp all the way up until...
I would agree with that. Because why is it everybody's always saying round? When I was a glober, I never said round, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you?
No.
I don't know. Do you guys realize this? I mean, when you used to watch like Top Gear or something, and let's say Jeremy Clarkson, it's in the world. You know what I mean? Nobody now. It's like on the globe. It's like
Yeah, but
everybody has to
Yeah.
push it, emphasize, guys. We're on a
Right. Round is shaped like or approximately like a circle or cylinder, or shaped like or approximately like a sphere. Noun, that's the adjective. The noun is a circular piece of particular substance. So,
sphere. We're on a globe. We're on a
But they
round.
don't say that though,
Earth.
do they? They say we live on a round Earth. We
Yeah,
live
but
on
they
a.
always
Yeah,
but
no.
look at every channel you check now. TV doesn't matter. They're always talking about the planet or round Earth because they're specifically trying to say it's not flat.
right, it's not.
Yeah, but
I mean, it always just should be world. Now, world's
Right, it's not flat. It absolutely isn't flat.
not said anymore. No one says world at all. Now it's
No.
planet or round.
No, this
Yeah.
is a round.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm
right.
the
You're hearing
planet.
that word round, right? Because round don't necessarily mean sphere.
No, of
I
course.
know, but they
And
try. They
world-
think it does.
And
That's the
world does
problem.
not necessarily mean Earth. I'm going to make a really controversial statement. The Earth is level and stationary. However, the world is spinning wildly out of control.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's hard to find pure sativa or pure indica. I mean, everybody's producing hybrids. You can find it sometimes, but it's hard nowadays.
Ms. Queen Bee for another £5 super chat. Really, really appreciate it. She says, Chennai support on behalf of Roger. You rock, Miss Queen Bee. Thank you, Vicky. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you.
She already did that, didn't she?
But yeah, it's just I've just found that really odd because one day they just stopped saying world. Nobody says world anymore.
No.
It's just stopped.
What,
It used to
what
be
do-
everywhere.
What does world mean though?
Everybody as entirety.
Don't necessarily mean the sphere either, though, does it?
No,
it's-
but
the
that's why they
world
stopped
is the
saying it.
environment in which you live.
Right, that's why we stopped using it, because it's not a descriptive term for the shape of the earth.
And the social
Yeah.
construct, that's
But
your
just-
world.
But just do yourself a favor and just look maybe even 5 years back and look how much people used to say world. Now try to find anybody saying world today. You won't find anybody saying world.
Oh, they say global, don't they?
They say globe, planet, round, but they won't say world.
Think about the phonetic similarities.
See, it's just something that came into his head and he thinks it's right because he thought of it. But yeah, people still use the word world. What the hell are you talking about?
Between world and world.
Mm.
World.
Yeah.
World around.
Whirling about its axis.
Aye. Furling about, man, furling about.
The middle of 2014.
And what got your attention to for you to start believing that the Earth is flat?
Some really odd YouTube videos that talked.
See, he played video games for a living, and that was sort of dying out. So he discovered that you could grift off flat Earth because there's a lot of gullible people with deep pockets.
About flight
That's what got him into flat Earth.
routes in the southern hemisphere that really caught my attention, and then I researched it for about 9 months, just because I tried to debunk it.
No, he didn't. It probably took him a week.
Nobody goes into flat Earth loving it right away. They all hate it. They think it's a horrible, horrible idea. And after 9 months, I said, you know what? I'm going to put a series of videos on YouTube, and I'm going to say, all right, somebody shoot me down. Somebody in academia, and I called it the Flat Earth Clues.
And everybody shot you down. Everybody proved that you're wrong.
And everything started taking off.
But you start to believe this by playing video games first. You saw it in the video game.
I also saw it in the games, but it didn't. I was into simulations and simulation theory, like the movie The Matrix or the 13th Floor and stuff like that. But it never occurred to me that it was flat, even though all simulations are flat.
No, not all simulations are flat. What if you simulate a sphere? See, I can show you one that's not flat right now. Right there. That's a simulation that's not flat. Uses the heliocentric math and spherical geometry in its source code. So you're a liar, Mark Sargent.
Yeah. What's up with people thinking simulation theory these days? It's quite a few of them.
You know, something. Vicky sent me a video the other day of this guy in the middle, the black dude in the middle, and it was from TikTok, and he was talking to this transgender woman into a guy into a woman, and he was saying this woman guy was saying women shouldn't be in sports, but transgender women should be in women's sports because they're stronger than women, normal women. So he was trying to get women out of their own sports and replace it with trans women. Do you know what I mean?
It's kind of makes me laugh because it wasn't 10 years ago that all women were saying that we should be able to compete with men. Why can't we compete with men? And they fought to compete with men. Then they got their wish and they don't like it.
Not him. He was against it, obviously, the guy in the middle.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So it tells me that all they wanted was something to complain about. They didn't really want a solution to the problem.
That reminds me now when Brenda wasn't Dave, and Brenda tells me
That was shocking.
sex is not preference, gender is. I was like, you're going to get two genders, Brenda, male and female. That's gender.
Yeah.
So you don't understand the difference between sex and gender. Okay.
This is a preference.
Yeah.
Outside of the
Yeah, women firefighters. They I went through I took the Columbus, Ohio firefighters test, both the written and the physical. And it is a physical test. I have never been more exhausted in my life after getting done with it twice. At that time, this was back in the late 80s, early 90s. Early 90s, maybe. They had a bunch of feminists that filed a class action lawsuit against the fire department because their physical test wasn't passable by females. So they had to lower the standards for all firefighters to be able to test females so they could pass the physical test. That's fact. That's not sexism. That's fact.
the context of human beings, okay, you can use there's like gender specific language right? And it's not so much in English,
I
but
don't-
like in your French.
I don't want to call you by what you want to be called. I want to call you by what I want to call you by. That makes me unhappy.
And Spanish languages.
If you want to be called a frog, I'll call you a frog. I don't care. I don't care. It's not important.
You have like la, las, and L, right? The L is a masculine, right? And la is feminine. So like when you refer to the moon, it's la luna. It's not El luna because the moon is feminine.
Yep.
Now, like in French,
Moon isn't feminine or masculine. It's a planet, or it's a moon. It's a big chunk of rock. It can't be feminine or masculine. See, but we in the English language, we refer to things in the feminine, like ship, planets, moons, stuff like that. It's not assigning gender to a thing, man.
snow or crushed ice, that kind of thing, that's the feminine, whereas solid block of ice is the masculine.
What? What the hell are you talking about?
All right, that's in language. It doesn't apply to human. There's men, there's women, and like a multitude of different gay. That's all.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, like Brenda were calling you racist. Like, are you my friend, Dave?
I'm the only projectable gay in the village.
Yeah.
Are you my friend, Fatside?
Yes.
Well, I'm half English, half Asian, like so.
No, we're not friends anymore.
Like you won't be friends.
No.
You won't,
What?
if
No,
you're
I
racist,
can't be friends with somebody like that.
no, but
No.
seriously, if you're racist, why would I be friends with you? Do you know what I mean? It don't make sense.
Because you're an indoctrinated little cult member. That's why. You can't disagree with illustrious leader.
Yeah,
It's against the rules.
but that's just
That's the first rule of Flurf Club. Don't disagree with illustrious leader.
Brenda's trying to take the heat off of Brenda being wrong.
Of course it is, like, but she talks out.
Yeah, that's.
Talks out in his ass.
He does, yeah. But that's why I said, Brenda can come on and we can talk about it, because you know the reason I'm getting.
So I'm just going to call you she from now on. I'm going to call all these guys she because that's what I want to call them.
So pissed off with him is because he's mislabeling me as a hater.
Well, consider the source. Who cares? Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you understand.
I'm like, hey, Brenda,
I'm not a transphobe person. I just.
Really, you're not? You're not? You've proven you are. You've proven you are. Calling Brenda a he proves you're a transphobe. So tell us what you are without saying the words.
State fact. You're not a hater if you just say, dude, you don't have a uterus, you're a man.
Right.
There's a difference between sex and gender.
There's no hating there. It's just telling.
Gender is chemical. Sex is genetic.
Get out of your delusional state of mind. Wake up to reality. You playing.
Excuse me? Wake up to reality? Wow. Holy cow.
A different gender. That's not reality. It's not out of hate or anything. It's just telling you, wake up.
Well, I just tell him, I say, what other communist buzzwords are you wishing to lay on us tonight? Give us the definitions of these things. So you got homophobe, that must mean fear of self.
Mm-hmm.
Gender.
What in the world?
Gender. The male or the female sex, especially when considered with reference to the social and cultural differences rather than biological ones, or one of range or other identities that do not correspond to the established ideals of male and female.
Transphobe, what, I'm afraid of cars, I'm afraid of transportation. Where did that come from?
But think about it.
No, you're terrified of anybody who's not like you. That's what you're terrified of.
What are we afraid of? What are we afraid of when we?
Who's causing audio chaos? Is it you,
Ryan?
Ryan?
Probably Ryan. But while Ryan's sorting out his audio chaos, I'm just going to say, Roger Little, thank you for another $2 for chat. He says, I think it sucks big time.
Hey, Diver Dan, good to have you here. Glad you could make it.
I agree. If we're talking about the context we're just talking about, I don't want to say anything. But thank you very much for your super chat. I think we're going to have... I do want to maybe do something on the whole transgender thing as well sometime. Because I don't know about you guys, but I see a huge problem with too many people becoming woke today.
Yeah, without a doubt.
They're becoming offensive by reality, and I think it's time we should stand up and tell them, get a wake-up call.
Yeah, I said it on my show last night. I said it, that the whole world's just gone gay. Everything's gay. Everything. Media, everything's just gay. It's horrible.
Everything is gay, and I think we're heading back to sort of...
Everything is gay. Let's look up the definition for everything. Everything, definition.
Here's the definition of everything: all things, all the things of a group or class.
All things. So you're part of all things, aren't you? Are you part of all things? Are you a thing? Are you part of the group of all? So you're saying that you're gay?
But I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
sure that
I think we passed the point of no return when it comes to that, though.
I don't know whether we can talk about it. Like.
But you understand? And
it's like when they say, "Oh, they all lie. Everyone lies." Well, you're everyone, man. You're part of everyone.
The people are starting everywhere to stand up against this as well, and I think it's time we should tell the people, listen, yeah, just because you're offended that you want to live a lie doesn't make anybody else hateful. It just makes you delusional and insane.
Right. Just because you want the earth to be flat, just makes you whatever you said. See how that works? See, you're a delusional liar who lives in a fantasy world, and yeah, same thing.
The problem is, right, when I was at school, if you were like, it weren't the thing to be gay, you know what I mean? And like my friends' parents and my family, and they'd be like, queers, you know what I mean? But now it's like, you were the wrong for saying out against it, you know what I mean? That's where it...
Yes, we've become enlightened as a society now. Yes. Took us a while to get out of this backwards thinking.
Like now, you can't say things about it.
No, nothing against it.
Look at this. I love this. How dare you? I'm currently transitioning. A bit of a problem is my tits are getting in the way of my guitar playing.
Now he's on conspiracy music. Conspiracy music.
But really, guys, I think it's really a thing that's starting to take over everywhere. And I think
see, the mere fact that you laughed at that proves that you're transphobic.
Everybody just stands up and tells them, listen, yeah.
Proves that you're a bigot.
We don't care about you getting offended because you can't face reality. It doesn't make us haters or bigots or anything. It just means you can't accept reality. Grow up. That's all.
Get the boat, Noah. Get the boat, Noah.
Because I think people today are too soft. Oh, we don't want to hurt people's feelings. Stuff the people's feelings.
Yeah.
Grow up.
It's not really about feelings.
Stuff the people's feelings. People are too sensitive. Like when a woman in a chat insults you, and you just call her a bitch. You block them, Flatzoid. Does that mean you're too sensitive?
It's like you're not allowed to have an opinion anymore. You know, like you've got to accept what they push. Like when I was at school, there might have been one person in like 1,000 kids who you might have said were gay, and now there might be
now everyone's gay, right?
1,000 gays in 1,000, 1,500 kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, probably.
Because the thing that's really hypocritical about that, though, is only they allowed to have free speech. The rest of us are not allowed to. What nonsense is that?
No, you've got free speech. You can say whatever you want. There are penalties. There are consequences for your speech. But you can say whatever you want, man. You're saying it right now.
Any opinion against them, even if it's nothing to do with sexuality, anything like that, is against their gender, sexuality, or whatever.
I watched.
You-
I
you-
watched.
Now, free speech can be limited to time, place, and manner. Maybe that's what you're talking about. But no, you're free to say it here, dude. If you didn't have free speech, this thing would end.
criticizing them for just say their intellect, then it's
I
to do with
watched.
their gender. You know what I
I
mean?
watched a court case from a guy that he took a library to court to say, look at this book, and he's reading pages out of the book, and they're telling him, please stop using that vulgar, bad language, this is inappropriate language. He's like, this is what stands in your book that you got in your library.
Yeah,
They
it's
kicked
cool
him
library.
out because he said that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, they can't listen. This is nothing more than I've watched it increase over the years. You can go back. There was a popular television show, and there was a lot of people weren't allowed to watch it. A lot of kids. I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, I
And they
remember.
couldn't. They had to make sure that Barbara Eden's navel was covered up when she was in that genie outfit because no. They had Desi and Lucy were in separate beds. Right? This is how tight. People were like, we're not going to put that out there. It's not necessary for the story. Okay.
Yes, thank God we snapped out of that Puritan attitude and common sense took over.
Now we come up to a point where they've pushed the envelope so much that there's damn near full frontal nudity on primetime television. I mean, I can't believe it where it's gotten to. And it's little tiny incremental.
No, they don't have full frontal nudity on primetime television. They don't.
Pushing that envelope a little bit more. Now it's got to the point where here last year during their Pride parade, there were two guys on the street wearing that.
I mean, is this projection or classic projection or what? Let's look up the definition of projection. Projection definition.
That leather getup crap.
Here's the
either
definition of
simulating
projection.
or actually doing
An
the
estimate
act.
or forecast of a future situation or trend based on a study of present ones.
Well, that's not the psychological. Here, psychology. There we go. Projection is the process of displacing one's feelings onto a different person, animal, or object. The term is commonly used to describe defensive projection, attributing one's own unacceptable urges to another. For example, if someone continuously bullies and ridicules a peer about his insecurities, the bully might be projecting his own struggle with self-esteem onto the other person. The concept emerged from Sigmund Freud's work on defensive mechanisms, was further refined by his daughter Anna Freud and other prominent figures in psychology. So, it's only a matter of time before these dudes get caught with a dick in their mouth.
A guy on the other side of the street starts reading the Bible, and the guy with the Bible got arrested.
I'm sorry, Richard. Sorry.
Yeah,
Trying to clean up my language.
He's against free speech, in other words.
Well, I watch this channel called Christ Forgiveness Ministries, and there's a black guy, he's called David Lynn, and he goes to he goes all over the world, like, but he were in Canada somewhere, Toronto or something like that, and wherever he goes, gay pride is there waiting in force. And this one day he's preaching, and there's this guy, and he's literally wearing these like skimpy little buckers, and he's in front of him twerking. And all rest of gay pride all going, yay, that's mint, yeah, do you know what I mean? And he's twerking in front of a preacher. In what?
Right, why'd the preacher go? If the preacher didn't want someone twerking in front of him, why did he go? Why did the preacher go to a gay pride parade to complain about it? If you don't like it, don't go. If you don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married. If you don't like something, just don't do it. No one's forcing you to expose yourself to this. Another question is, why do so many anti-gay preachers get caught in compromising situations? Why is that?
Well, that's not crazy.
What scenario is that normal like?
Yeah, but that's nothing. I mean,
See, that's called projection.
look at some of the churches today. The preachers are preaching Jesus was gay.
Oh my God! Yeah,
literally preaching Jesus was gay, and you're like,
no, I don't know of any churches who are doing that. They probably teach that he was inclusive, and yeah, but yeah, I don't. Whatever church it is wrong. Gay Jesus wasn't gay.
Like, what the hell are you talking about? It's an abomination.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, Jesus was a fictional character. So
According to the Bible.
The church.
Santa's gay. Just say Santa's gay. Doesn't mean anything. Right? Santa's fictional. Oh, the Easter Bunny's gay. But the Tooth Fairy, she's a communist.
Church England, one of their leaders, whatever, said that they don't want to call God like the Father.
Uh-huh.
Like last year.
Sexist. Yeah, they said sexist to call God Father.
I've got one answer to all that. And why do you think God wiped Sodom and Gomorrah face of Earth? What do you think they were doing in Sodom and Gomorrah that God thought?
I mean, what the hell are you talking about? This is a debate on the shape of the earth, man. What are you talking about? Just so much projection.
He needed to wipe him off face of Earth. And I'll tell
Yeah, we got 8 people here. Awesome. Need more.
you what they were doing. Exactly what they're doing now. Gay pride and all that queer shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even Herod was a fruitcake, man.
But like I said, I think people. The problem is people are.
Everyone back then had sex with each other, dude. You think gayness, homosexuality started in the 20th century? Or the 19th century? Dude.
Caring what people get offended by, and I think that's where it's got to stop. Everybody should just say,
I don't know who wrote Jeff Peterson, but they're confusing Jeff Zweerink with Jesse Lee.
Who gives a shit about you getting offended by it?
Well, why can't I be offended about my daughter getting taught all that stuff?
Exactly.
Well, you guys want to join my organization then? I am founding member and president of an organization I proudly call Poop. And it stands for People Offended by Offended People.
That's brilliant.
And basically, when I get offended by offended people, I actually offend myself again because I'm offended. You see how that works? It's really...
Yeah, it's just a chain of offense. Chain of offense.
Yeah. I just want to quickly give a shout out to Roger again, 2 notes which I did. After Brenda was on Solve's show, I went on a rant. Yeah. Brenda does that to people. But anyway, we're totally off topic now, guys, but I think we should be doing more on this woke stuff. Who's in for that?
I'm down for it.
I'm always down for it.
Yeah, let's go, girlfriend. Let's go, girlfriend.
Let's join Poop.
Can I say something real quick about this video that you guys are showing? The guy's name, the guy that's going right there on the screen, his name's Jesse Peterson, not Jeff.
That's Jesse Peterson, yeah. That's the name you guys are saying, yeah. From the Fallen State. He does actually awesome work, by the way. I like his interviews.
Yeah, he's don't cut.
Yeah, I find myself like
Evidently, that's Mark Sargent that wrote that up there.
He is also like that. He says straight his mouth.
I think, they're watching Mark's thing.
He doesn't care if you offend someone. He just tell them straight.
Well, somebody else said, I've seen it a couple times here in chat, and I remember that sticks and stones, right? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Do they still tell that to children? No.
It's the inverse.
Yeah.
But names will cause me to...
Yeah, they do still tell that to children. Yeah.
Have a fucking woke protest outside your school.
Song, they made a new song. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but silly words hurt more. I never get shown that in school.
Well, we had right here in Virginia and in the Shenandoah Valley, right here locally, where we've got some schools. There's Stonewall Jackson High School. There's Robert E. Lee. They're named after these Confederate generals, Turner, Ashby, and they were under pressure. Like they caved in and changed the names of the school.
Good.
And people went, fuck that. And they went ahead and now just here about a week or so ago, they voted to change them back. And the news is making it out like there's people all upset because they're changing it back to the names of Confederate generals.
Yes. Why should they? Why should you name a school after a traitor to the country? That's not conducive to a good education. But if you're a racist as hell state and your legislation is racist, yeah, you'll want to push your racism wherever possible.
And it's like, but that's not real, you see, because I was talking to a guy in a story yesterday about it. I was like, yeah, I says, but have you seen anyone in reality upset about it? He says, no. I says, well, it's awful damn funny. The only place that anybody's upset about it is in the fucking newspaper.
It's always that way. They make up upset people.
So I was glad to see that. It's gone back. They changed the names back to what they were. And hell, those people, and especially this was the one that got me, is they wanted Stonewall Jackson. Yes, he was Robert E. Lee's right-hand man.
Well, we had the same type of issue here.
Right. They were traitors. They were traitors to the country. And they were racists and fought for the right to own other people and treat them like cattle. But you support that, right? One description I heard of Cirque du Soleil from a comedian. Everything in Cirque du Soleil is, what was it? On fire, wet, and gay at the same time. Something like that.
With street names a while back, where they started changing all the Afrikaans names to black names because it was racist.
Wow.
That was the thing. Because it was an Afrikaans name, therefore racist, and I'd have turned it to black name.
That's what they started doing here. And what was so funny about it now was like, why are you changing Stonewall Jackson's name? Why are you changing his why are you mad at him? Even though he fought for the Confederacy. See, and this is some of the biggest proof that it wasn't.
Right, that's why. That's why. He fought for the Confederacy. He was a traitor and a racist.
Over slavery. Okay. This guy was vehemently opposed to the institution of slavery. He found it disgusting. But he found it even more disgusting.
Who's he talking about?
Street names a while back, where they started changing all the Afrikaans names to black names because it was racist.
Wow.
That was the thing. Because it was an Afrikaans name, therefore racist, and I'd have turned it to black name.
That's what they started doing here. And what was so funny about it now was like, why are you changing Stonewall Jackson's name? Why are you changing his why are you mad at him? Even though he fought for the Confederacy. See, and this is some of the biggest proof that it wasn't over slavery. Okay. This guy was vehemently opposed to the institution of slavery. He found it disgusting. But he found it.
Jackson did not leave behind any writings indicating how he felt about the institution of slavery. See, we don't know for certain how he felt about it. We do know that he participated in the slave economy. Jackson owned 6 individuals while he lived in the White House. Lived in the Washington Street House. So, yeah, that's history, pal. He was empathetic. He was empathetically the black man's friend. He addressed his students by name, and they referred to him as Mars Major. Jackson owned 6 slaves in the 1850s. 3, Hetty, Cyrus, and George, a mother and 2 teenage sons, were received as part of the dowry at his marriage to Mary Ann Jackson. So,
even more disgusting of a central government tyranny that Lincoln was proposing on this nation. All right. So he had a chef that followed him, his own.
So Lincoln, who freed the slaves and fought against that type of behavior, was the tyrant. Oh, okay.
Personal cook that followed him through the war, and he hired him and paid him out of his own pocket. He was the best cook in the whole Stanton area, and he was a black guy.
Oh yeah, their agenda. Hey, Stephen Jarvis, good to have you here. Yeah, their agenda has nothing to do with flat Earth. It's anti-government. It's anti-establishment. It's anti-authority. That's what they stand for. If the government right now said the Earth is flat, then they'd argue that it's round, that it's a sphere, because they don't trust the government. Although the government has absolutely nothing to do with our educational system and the information put in there. But, yeah, they just don't like authority. They don't like people who are right.
Paid him more than any cook was making at that time. And the guy traveled with. I mean, this is the thing people don't get, that whole thing wasn't over slavery, but they've turned it into that issue. That was
no, it most certainly was over the rights to own people, man. See, you're a slavery racist apologetic. That's what you are, apologist. Because you're a racist piece of crap, man. I mean, you start every one of your live streams with a racist joke. So, yeah. But
I'm just a dumb flirter. I wouldn't know anything. It's just one of the issues involved. The whole thing is that Lincoln,
hey, Pentalica,
was trying to turn this nation upside down into something that it was never founded to be, and that was a democratic republic. We're supposed to be a democratic republic, and now it's turned into a federalist democracy. Totally.
No, we're not a federalist democracy. What are you talking about? We live in a socialist democratic republic. That's what the United States is. We fund, we pay our bills We create infrastructure. We create social programs from taxes that we collect from everybody. That's socialism. We elect our representatives by a majority of the vote. That's democracy. And we are a republic. So don't get it twisted, racist. Don't get it twisted, anti-government moron.
Against what we were founded for. So the real traitor was actually Lincoln.
Wow. Because this Sandra, yeah, woke and awake are two totally different things. Like that, absolutely.
Unless I woke up.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But you know what I'm saying. The terminology.
I mean, what scumbags these people are. Truly.
But and who else? Oh, David Barner, hiya. How you doing, dude? Good to see you, man.
What's up, David? Okay, let's get on with this.
And then, yeah, when it went hand in hand. So when I looked at flat Earth, it's like I looked at it from a technical, if I was going to build it from a
back to the second minute of the debate.
Simulation point of view, and everything worked really nicely.
Are you 100% sure the Earth is flat?
I am now. I wasn't 4 months into it, beginning of 2015 when I made the series. I wasn't, but it's been running now since then really heavily, and there's so many people involved with so many facets I hadn't even looked at, that yeah, we're living, it's not just flat, you're living in a building. No different than this, a giant stage.
Do you not find that strange that it put a series out telling
when he was still not 100%?
When he went 100% sure.
Yeah, I find that a bit odd there. Because
we don't find that odd at all. See, that's what you do. You just speak out of your butthole, and without any evidence or proof. So we don't find that odd at all.
I wouldn't do that unless I knew 100% that.
And he still doesn't have proof. He still doesn't have proof that the Earth is flat. He just makes up stuff. Oh, we live in a big simulation.
You won't ever try and push it on anybody else unless you're 100% sure. You won't.
Exactly.
With walls and floor and ceiling.
Amazing. Do you smoke pot?
I don't, but that's a good question.
And so, Dr. Jeff, you believe the Earth is round.
I do, yes.
And are you 100% sure the Earth is round?
To the best I can measure it, yes.
You don't believe it's flat at all?
I do not.
Sorry?
Earth can be flat around.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's going to bring that up now anyway as well.
Did you catch the answer? As best I can measure it, yes.
But you see, that's what I'm saying. They love to bring round. Yeah, why don't they just say sphere? Or they just get.
Yes, he did. He said the real traitor was Lincoln. That's what the racist piece of crap said.
Just say sphere. I don't know.
That's what the racist hillbilly said.
Because I do think they say round, as in later on. Yeah. I mean round because it could be flat as well.
Plausible deniability.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's it.
Roger David for $2 super chat. If the Democratic National Committee. Thank you very much for your super chat, man. Appreciate it so much. You rock. What is the I'm South African, so I don't really get what this Republic versus Democratic bullshit stuff. Yeah, we just get government steals your money and that's it.
Yeah, government, that's it, man. Doesn't matter what party's in, you know what I mean? It's all the same crap.
I really don't think there's such thing as democracy.
No.
There's a how can I put it? A false false how can I say commitment of democracy? Yeah, a false sense. You would think there's democracy, but there isn't.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as democracy these days, guys.
Yeah, like election's not election, it's selection. You know what I mean? It's just it's a false sense of having an election.
You've all seen them news, where like somebody's collected all them news programs, and they're all saying this is against our democracy, and there's like every news channel all over America all saying the same thing. When they're all saying that, then you know there's.
I wanted to show a commentary on the debate, but they're never getting to it. So what we can do.
I know why white male. Right, there's,
Yeah.
We'll go to Mark's channel and watch the debate and criticize it because I'm tired of watching these racist pieces of crap. I really am.
I am Jesse Lee Peterson. This is going to be a very, very mamma mia, hola, si senor, interesting show because we're talking about something that is shocking to me and it's hard to shock me. Is the Earth round or is it flat? I have two experts here today to debate that issue. Am I right?
I'm Brian Fellows.
I have with me Mark Sargent. Mark, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And what were you doing prior to become a flat? He's a flat earther.
I am. It's true.
Prior to becoming a flat earther, what type of work? You worked in software?
No, it's not true. You're a scammer. You're a grifter. You're a con man and a liar.
I did. I taught proprietary software for 20 years. And before that, I played video games for a living.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's on my right. And on my left, I have with me Dr. Jeff, and his last name, I would never be able to pronounce it. Dr. Jeff, what's your last name?
Zweering.
Zweering. Are you Jewish?
No.
How you get to be swearing?
Not swearing, swearing.
What is that? Are you?
It's Dutch.
Oh, okay. Welcome, man.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And so you are a Christian.
I am a Christian.
And what type of work you did before you became a Christian?
Well, I became a Christian when I was pretty young, so most of my work has been as a Christian. But I do work at UCLA. I work as a research faculty there. I do research on high-energy astrophysics stuff. I also work at Reasons to Believe, talking about how science and Christianity work together.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for coming, man.
Glad to be here.
I told you I'm happy to have both of you here because I have no idea how this flat Earth thing came about. And so, Mark, you're like one of the leading people in this whole flat Earth idea, right?
Yeah.
Have you always believed that the Earth was flat?
No, not at all.
At one point, you believed that it was round.
We don't even say round. We say globe or ball or sphere, because technically a dinner plate is round, a dining room table is round. But yes, I was in the globe camp all the way up until the middle of 2014.
When the mule kicked me in the head, when I discovered that I wasn't making money playing video games or doing software, I needed a better grift.
And what got your attention to for you to start believing that the Earth is flat?
Some really odd YouTube
software engineer. I'm thinking if it's on Mark Sargent's level, he had a gaming server and he edited the code on it.
Videos that talked about flight routes in the southern hemisphere that really caught my attention, and then I researched it for about 9 months just because I tried to debunk it. Nobody goes into flat Earth loving it right away. They all hate it. They think it's a horrible, horrible idea. And after 9 months, I said, you know what, I'm going to put a series of videos on YouTube and I'm going to say, all right, somebody shoot me down, somebody in academia, and I called it the Flat Earth Clues, and everything started taking off.
Amazing. You start to believe this by playing video games first. You saw it in the video games.
I also saw it in the games, but it didn't. I was into simulation.
Yeah, this is from 5 years ago.
And simulation theory, you know, like the movie The Matrix or The 13th Floor and stuff like that. But it never occurred to me that it was flat, even though all simulations are flat. And then, when it went hand.
No, not all simulations are flat. I just showed you where they aren't. So.
Hand in hand. So when I looked at flat Earth, it's like I looked at it from a technical, if I was going to build it from a simulation point of view, and everything worked really nicely.
Are you 100% sure the Earth is flat?
I am now. I wasn't 4 months into it. The beginning of 2015 when I made the series, I wasn't, but it's been running now since then really heavily, and there's so many people involved with so many facets I hadn't even looked at, that we're living, it's not just flat, you're living in a building, no different than this, a giant stage with walls and a floor and a ceiling.
Amazing. Do you smoke?
No, we aren't. No, we don't. Sorry.
Pot?
I don't. I don't. But that's a good question.
And so, Dr. Jeff, you believe the Earth is round.
I do. Yes.
And are you 100% sure the Earth is round?
To the best I can measure it, yes.
You don't believe it's flat at all?
I do not. No.
When did you hear that the Earth was flat, and what was your first impression when you heard it?
I guess the first time I heard it, I mean, I hear lots of things, and so I was like, oh, kind of interesting. I don't know why somebody would think that, so I've kind of looked at it a little bit. And what I find interesting, if I'm honest about it, when you first start looking at some of the things, the evidence they put out is kind of compelling and hard to wrestle with at some of it. And but as I've looked through certain key places or places where they say, okay, this is evidence of flat, as I've dug into the details, I find it not so convincing after I've looked at some more of the details.
What's not convincing about it?
Well, I think one of the things that I have yet to hear is, we talk about, being able, whether you can see curvature around, and, if I could refer to, you sent me a video a couple of days ago, and you make a comment in there that you're on Whidbey Island looking over at Seattle, and you say, oh, we shouldn't be able to see Seattle because there ought to be hundreds of miles of curvature, or hundreds of feet of curvature. I'll be right there, hundreds of feet of curvature. And so I just sat down and did some calculations, and according to my calculations, that should be about 70, maybe 80 feet or less. And so the fact that you can see Seattle actually fits very comfortably within what I would expect in there. But I think, to me, the biggest reason why I think the globe is, or why we live on a globe, the Earth is a globe, is that when I look at how things work, I'm an astronomer, so I get to study what's going on in space. I'm also a physicist, so I study how instruments work here. And when we look at gravity, let's just say that, because that's very different in how a young or a flat Earth and a globe Earth could be very different. Yeah. But what I find interesting is that when you go and make measurements in the lab of how does gravity work, it works out a certain way. And when I then apply that to how moons orbit around Jupiter, which we can see them being spherical in nature, and when I look out at distant galaxies and how stars rotate around galaxies, that one formulation of gravity explains all of that data without seams, even here on Earth. And so to me, just the most natural thing is, if it works everywhere else, why would we expect this to be any different?
And you say?
I'm saying that
because God made it special.
We were in a giant planetarium, as it were. You know, you see the same things you're talking about. You see a moon, and you see planets, and you see stars. They're just objects in the sky. They're just lights. They're just part of a giant projection system. You can make them do whatever you want. And
so you're just copying. So you just cop out.
Yes, I know. You're saying, well, they all look spherical, but we're the only things that's flat. It's like, no, you're in a building, and everything you see isn't what you think it is. So gravity, and by the way, to your point of gravity,
but the funny thing is you can see the stuff for yourself if you were honest enough.
Gravity is, you say it's a magical molecular magnetic force that pulls things down to the center of a sphere.
No, I don't say that.
No, it's not a magnetic force. See, you do not understand the heliocentric model at all, Mark. You claim that we don't.
Well, okay, most mainstream science. I mean, even your...
No, none of mainstream science says that gravity is magnetic. Nobody, Mark. Quit trying to rationalize your lies, man.
The most public of mainstream science, Neil deGrasse Tyson, even he says, no, we can't tell you what gravity is. We can only tell you what it does.
Right, we can tell you how we think it happens, but we can't tell you what it is. Yes. We can use the effects of it, and we can quantify it, and we can use those measurements and other things, and they work. See, it works in practical use, Mark. Your BS doesn't.
We can only tell you the symptoms of it. And so they say, oh yeah, it's a force that pulls things down to the center of a globe. And we say, well, it's a force that pulls things down to, a flat surface. Mm-hmm. And let me clarify here, because there's some people are going to say,
Have you measured that surface as flat, Mark? No, you haven't, have you? But we've measured it as spherical. See, that's the difference. We measure stuff. You go on opinion.
What is the flat Earth? And would you mind, Kelly? Can I see the models real quick? We're shown this when we're 6 years old, and this is the ball, and it's
that's the Earth, the round Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Spherical Earth spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, going around the sun.
No, spinning at 1 revolution per day.
At 50, 60,000 miles an hour.
Going around the sun once per year.
And that whole solar system is going sideways at 500,000 miles an hour.
It's expanding outward in all directions, and the entire solar system is moving in the same rate as itself in the same direction. So
on. What's interesting, though, is, and this would be more or less a representation of the flat Earth, a self-contained system roughly the same size. But here's the big difference. This can't exist on its own.
Yeah, it can. Yes, it can. Yeah, the Earth has been measured as spherical, Mark.
Uses a huge support system to survive, meaning you need a sun and a solar system and a galaxy and a universe, a universe around it, where this needs nothing. This is just, if you look inside it, there's your world. Mm-hmm.
Well, you think that if the sun burned out right now on this flat Earth, that we wouldn't start getting cold and die?
So the question is, why couldn't that be possible? In fact, if it's easy...
Because we've measured it, Mark. We've measured it as spherical. It's as impossible as me saying that this building is only this tall. That's as ludicrous as that is. Me saying that the building that I'm in right now, that I've measured as being 30 foot tall, is flat.
Easier to understand, which is why it's been catching on as fast as it has. If this is easier to understand than this, because this takes huge amounts of math, geometry and trig and calculus and quantum.
No, it doesn't take huge amounts, buddy. Doesn't take huge amounts. It just takes a rudimentary understanding of mathematics.
mechanics and everything you specialize in, why wouldn't people be attracted to this?
Well, and it may be, and I'll say straight off the top, I can't prove the Earth is not flat. In the sense that if we're talking prove 100% equivocally, there's no way I can get around. I mean, I've listened to what you say.
Sure.
And you provide a case for a flat Earth.
Right.
So to the extent someone can provide a case for a flat Earth, I can't prove that it's 100% wrong.
Right.
Now, this is the challenge I have, or why I wrestle strongly with it, is that one, there's a lot of data that personally I have, as well as scientifically I have, that just points to the Earth being round. I mean, there's, I would say, we've got pictures from going to the moon, and I know you dispute all of that. And so we're talking about various things there. But there's a lot of things that the simplest explanation is that we're actually on a globe. Now, as I've listened to you and as I've thought about it, in order for the Earth to be flat,
Brian Leakey wants to debate me again on gerunds.
There are some measurements we could make here that we could dabble with, but there needs to be some very high level of conspiracy conspiring against us to make all of that true. And you've admitted you're a conspiracy.
No, I am a
you like
conspiracy guy.
conspiracy
Oh yeah,
theories.
love them.
And so you've admitted there's some high level of conspiracy.
Yeah.
Just in the people I've worked with, I find it very hard to have that level of.
And actually, I haven't replied to his challenge yet because I just came off of a 24-hour timeout from YouTube for commenting because I called Marjorie Taylor Greene a hillbilly.
Conspiracy that holds together coherently.
Got it.
I've tried to have parties for people, and it's very hard, even for a short period of time, to keep the party quiet.
Sure.
And those are people who really want it to happen. So I just struggle, to have a global conspiracy of that level is hard. But even deeper, and this is, coming at it from a Christian, I find something more troubling, is that.
This is funny. I'm thumbing through my notifications. Says, lifting the veil asks or replied, Sean Hawkins, you call other people uneducated, and yet you fail to comprehend the fact that the sun which circles around your circles around your line of sight will go below your visual horizon when it's far enough away. Yeah. See, this is just another person who doesn't understand perspective, angular size, stuff like that.
If indeed that we live on a flat Earth, that the creator or whoever's put this in place has done things in a way to hide reality.
Sure.
And I could deal with humans are weird, humans are evil, humans want to hide things, I can do that. Yeah. A creator who both wants to know us but hides himself at that level is really difficult for me to wrap my mind around.
I have heard this before, and that is, are you saying that God is being deceptive? Because if God is all good and all powerful, can he also be deceptive in this case? Is it a trick? Because, if it's a trick, we're talking about somebody else. And I would respond with, well, what if it's not a trick or a deception, but a test, like a puzzle to be solved? More than anything else. It's something, and let me answer your first part, which is, can a conspiracy be this big? I'm not saying, like, for example, 99% of the NASA people that work there that turn the wrenches and build the fuel systems and build the capsules and everything, they wouldn't have to be in on it. Only the telemetry guys would have to be on it. And that would be...
No, everyone would have to be in on it. Everyone would have to be on it, Mark. You're a liar.
The same with any space agency.
See, the problem I have with that is that I have one of my respected spiritual mentors is one of the telemetry guys. And so for me to have this guy who's a guide for me to understand and live the Christian life also be involved in a conspiracy, that's a pretty hard thing for me to swallow.
I hear you. I absolutely hear you. Look, I had a chance to speak with astronaut Terry Virts during a thing in London. And somebody asked me, it's like, are you calling Terry Virts a liar? And I'm going, look, he's a colonel in the United States military. He follows, it's a full-bird colonel. He follows orders and he does what he's told, even if he objects to whatever is happening there. Now, I can't speak to your friend. I don't know what aspect of telemetry he's in, but yes.
He works at flight navigation throughout the solar system. How do we communicate with satellites that are out there? He's very heavy into that.
He would be very close to...
Let me ask you something about your flat Earth thing.
Yeah.
So are you saying that the Earth is in here and we're surrounded with this?
It's almost, yeah.
And so the Earth is in there.
Yep.
And are we in there too?
Yes, everything's in there. The
And
sun.
so we're not on the outside of this.
There doesn't have to be anything on the outside of this. That's the other thing, which is so hard.
Doesn't have to be anything on the outside of it. Well, then there's nothing on the outside. Nothing. Define nothing.
Hard for people to break out, and that is there doesn't have to be space. A lot of people say, well, is that just floating in space? And it's like, well, who says there has to be space? Because if space is simulated in there, like it is in a planetarium, there doesn't have to be anything outside. I mean, it could be, biblical side, could be God's footstool.
So you're saying that this is not floating in space somewhere?
No, it could be.
Yeah, it could be what scientifically illiterate and functionally illiterate people thought the world was. It could be that. Or it could be what science has determined that it is and what we've measured it as. Could be one or the other. The more likely explanation is that those functionally illiterate people didn't know what the heck they were talking about, and science has measured things. So.
Somewhere?
So if I get what you're saying, this is the sum total of reality.
Could be the sum total of our reality as we know it.
No,
now,
fair
of course,
enough. Okay, sum total of our physical reality.
And think.
If there was sum total, wouldn't we all be aware of this instead of this?
No, because because physically that thing would still be, I mean, I know the scale's a little bit off. That thing would be at least 20,000 miles wide. We're talking about something that's so big that everyone you know would have never ever figured, even we didn't even have the tech to detect this thing until about 1960. I mean, remember, NASA wasn't formed until...
Say what? Say what? We didn't know anything until 1960? Oh, that's weird.
Until 1958. And then the Antarctic Treaty was put into place where they locked down Antarctica, coincidentally, the same time the Van Allen radiation belts
No, they didn't lock down Antarctica, liar. They didn't.
were discovered, but that's a whole other thing. But
is that ice around the edge of the Earth? On the inside? Oh.
On the inside, the Antarctic coastline is the only continent that would not look anything like this. That is, Antarctica would be stretched around the entire outer edge. But the Antarctic coastline wouldn't be the edge of the world. There would be no cosmic waterfall. It would still go in thousands of miles. And again, that's what Admiral Byrd, the youngest admiral in the history of the Navy, he explored for the last 30 years of his career, from 1928 until his death in 1956, 1957. Where he explored Antarctica, and then finally they locked it down. But I gotta...
No, nobody locked Antarctica down, man. Nobody. They created a set of rules. Everything has rules, dude.
Interestingly, real quick, because again, I know we have a ton of time, which is the biblical side of things. Because
Yeah.
I read up in your biography, and I like it. I love the fact that you're trying to mesh in some way, shape, or form, science with religion. I think it's a lofty goal. Don't know if it's going to...
I think it's ridiculous. Science has no place for unfalsifiable narratives.
Happen. But I know it's a great goal. I mean, you and I are on the same page with some of the stuff.
Are you a Christian?
I am a Christian.
And you believe in God?
Absolutely, I believe in God. In fact, one of the default things of believing in this is that it was created. Default. If you believe that the world was created, in the shape of a soundstage, then it was built by someone. And then you only have two choices. It's like, okay, well, an advanced civilization that we don't know about, or the divine. And really, at that point, you're just splitting hairs. But there's some biblical stories which work so much better with this than it does with this. For example, and I'm not going to quote chapter and verse exactly, story of Joshua.
Yes, they're stories, Mark. They're stories. That's all they are. Stories.
When he asked to hold the sun, God to hold the sun and the moon in the sky for an extra day so he could slay more enemies, right? So much tougher to do in a heliocentric model because you have to stop the Earth, you have to stop the solar system and everything around it. I mean, you have to stop it.
No, you don't.
Stop the rotation of the Earth.
No, you don't.
To stop the sun and the moon in a heliocentric model?
You have to realize there's a description of what they see in the sky. There are phenomena that make it look that way.
My point. And that is, if you're just talking about phenomena.
No, it's not your point, Mark. It's not your point.
In the sky, it's much easier to hit pause on this than his pause on this. And one more thing, well, if we're going down that road, how about the Tower of Babel? That's one of my favorites. That is a bridge to heaven, right? Big tower going up there. Well, where's it going if it's on a spinning ball that's spinning this way, and going sideways in all these directions? That tower...
That was a story, Mark, of how languages came about. See, that's another unfalsifiable narrative that religion has injected into history. See, that's a biblical account of why we talk different languages. See, language has evolved from a central language, and this was ignorant, functionally illiterate people trying to explain how that happened without knowing and attributing it to a god doing it.
It's going nowhere. Build a tower in here, you know exactly where it's going. The biblical model, and I'm on your side in a lot of ways. The Bible is a flat earth book, in our opinion. There's only one
See, that's also what an indoctrinator does. Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But everything you've learned is a lie, and I'm here to tell you the truth.
Chapter and verse that even comes close, and that's Isaiah 40:22, which says, "He who sitteth upon the circle of the earth." Again, circle's not ball, it's not globe.
If you're standing on a sphere, what do you see? What would the horizon be, Mark? Would it be a circle?
It's not sphere, it's circle. That's a circle.
You say?
Yes, and if you're standing on a sphere, if you're an ant and you're standing on a ball, everywhere that ant looks, it's going to see the same distance in a circle. So
I would say the Bible is largely silent on what the shape of the earth is, because one, most people throughout the history of Earth wouldn't know what it was.
Right.
And it's only in fairly recent times that we've been able to do that. So, in this sense, if we were to find out at the end of the day that the earth is flat, it wouldn't really bother me. There's nothing about biblically that would, one way or the other, bother me with that.
Oh, no, and
what I would go back to is the fact that I do find a coherence in the way God sustains creation. And the fact that I can see, as we're studying what's going on out in the cosmos, is so consistent with what we see here. That fits very well with a God who's the creator of everything. How that is, we're studying what actually happens here on Earth, and that I can drop balls, those sorts of things. Whereas what's going on out there is not. That seems a little incoherent for a God, again, who wants us to know him.
And I hear you. I would respond with God, because people are saying, are you saying that, because I say you don't have to have a solar system or a galaxy or a universe. Even Carl Sagan said there's an awful lot of wasted space that doesn't seem to be doing anything, and I know we can get into dark matter and dark energy, but let's not.
Well, I think you can make an argument that
yeah, you don't understand either, so let's not.
The universe needs to be the way it is for life to be here.
Potentially,
in the universe.
Potentially, but at the same time, I would also say that God's more efficient than that. So I'm not saying that God's lazy. You're just like, why? Well, God can make everything, including the giant solar system.
Yeah, your flat Earth God is lazy. He couldn't make a sphere. He couldn't make a snowball. He could just make a mud pie. That's lazy.
It would be effortless. It's going, yeah, but God's also really efficient. And that is, if 99.99% of the population believe the world that is presented to them, stars and the planets are whatever they are told, even though I believe there's signs and wonders and a giant clock system, does that clock system have to be millions of light years away? Can't it be close and intimate and made just for you?
You mean like shadows? Shadows are close and intimate.
We've had a lot.
Are there other planets inside of your flat Earth?
Well, yes, but they're not something you can land on. They literally would be like planets in a planetarium. They would be lights in the sky.
So would Jupiter actually exist, or is it one of those things that is just projected up onto the dome?
Yes, it would just be a projection.
Okay.
Again, Jupiter in this would be no different than Jupiter in a planetarium. And I've had people, amateur astronomers, who have said, "I've seen the moons of Jupiter in in my telescope." And I say, "Fine, take a pair of binoculars, go to a planetarium, look at Jupiter. Does it look more or less real with your binoculars?" They say, "Well, we're in a building." I go, "Yeah, but who's to say when you walked out of that building, you're just not in another building?" And sorry.
Oh my God, listen to the denial of this idiot. He's just completely in denial. He's completely gaslighting. Yeah, but it could be in another building. And then that could be inside of a building. You don't know. What a turd.
One more thing I got to mention, which is I can't begin to tell you, and I don't know.
I mean, that's an unfalsifiable narrative, Mark. That's not allowed in science. It's not allowed. See, you haven't proven that we're inside of this planetarium. You're just saying it.
If this appeals to one side or not, the amount of people that have been brought back to spirituality. I was away. I mean, look, I was raised born again Christian, vacation Bible school, summer camp, Camp Malibu. all that fun stuff. I was really into it, but when I got into tech and software, like a lot of people, we fall away. When I got into Flat Earth, I snapped right back into spirituality. And I cannot tell you the wave of people that have gotten into this. At least half of our members are really, really strong Christians because of the default thing, and that is if it was built, there was a creator.
The default thing? No. Sorry, pal.
Inside of your flat Earth, there are other planets, right?
Planets that you can't land on.
Are they spinning, or are they just sitting?
But yeah, we've landed on them. We sent probes. We've measured them. Landed on Mars a few times.
Flat too.
Landed on a comet.
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't know what exactly they are up there, other than their lights. I mean, look, we didn't even have HD television.
It's hard to say. You know, it's not hard to say, Mark. Not for anyone who's intelligent, who's actually studied this, who doesn't come in with a biased attitude, presupposing a fictional flat Earth. It's easy for us, Mark. It's difficult for you.
20 years ago. So what projection system they're using?
It'd be like someone with no legs or someone who's wheelchair bound. It's hard for them to walk and run. But you know what it's not hard to do for someone with legs that work. See, if you don't have the faculties to understand something, yeah, it's going to confuse you. And if you're a con man, you're going to grift on that. So you're going to gaslight the gullible of this world and convince them that everything they've learned is a lie, but you know the truth.
I have no idea. Other than you can't land on them, you cannot go there.
This thing about flat Earth is not a new idea. A long time ago, years ago, they thought that the Earth was flat. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Well, in some sense, it really makes a lot of sense because
it makes sense
you go out and look. Well,
back then,
the Earth is a pretty big place, and for you to see and actually measure the effects of it, it's a pretty sizable place. For you to measure the effects of it, you got to cover a lot of area. So, I mean, things look flat to a first approximation.
And so, in the older days, they said the Earth was flat. Then they realized that it's round. What caused them to believe that the Earth is round and not flat?
You know, I'd have to go back and look at the history of it. I do know that at least a fair bit of that discussion is we're looking out and seeing these other bodies out in the heavens where you can see Venus rotate on its axis. Right. You can see Mars rotate on its axis. You can see Jupiter rotate on its axis. You can see the sun rotate on its axis. If we fit within that system of things, it's kind of natural for us to think we rotate on an axis.
So you believe it's a conspiracy that we went to the moon?
Oh, good Lord. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
You think that's a conspiracy?
Yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg there. And that is not, it's way bigger than that.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I wasn't paying attention. So, yeah, I left this comment on his channel. So, can someone, here, I'm going to put the link in. Can someone go there and see if my comment's there? Should be the newest one.
What I'm saying is the only reason we have space programs at all is to keep this thing
just reply to the comment if it's there.
Going as long as possible. I mean, they discovered it in 1960, and they said they figured out it was a real risk to civilization as we know it. They were afraid of what might happen, and so they said, okay.
Wait, what? What? Hold on. I gotta pee. I'll be right back. I wasn't paying attention to what they were just saying. Be right back. I was just thinking, they mentioned thinking outside the box earlier. The best example of thinking outside the box is one of the newest developments in firefighting, where it used to be that if you were fighting a fire, you wanted to close off that building, starve it of oxygen, starve it of air, so it will have less of a tendency to move. Excuse me. Someone said, "Well, what if that's not true? What if that's not true?" So they set up buildings to test whether or not you could fan flames and kill them. What they did was they had different buildings that were different shapes, standard kind of the way buildings are laid out. And they set a fire in the building, and then they opened up the windows on one end of it and set up a fan in the other end of it to suck the air out. And it moved that fire through the building so fast it caused less structural damage to the building. Stuff inside was decimated, but the structural integrity of the building didn't suffer because they just moved they pushed the fire through it instead of allowing the fire to do damage while it's there. I think that's freaking amazing.
You believe it's a conspiracy that we went to the moon?
Oh, good Lord. That's just the tip of the
iceberg. That's a conspiracy?
Yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg there. And that is not, it's way bigger than that. What I'm saying is the only reason we have space programs at all is to keep this thing going as long as possible. I mean, they discovered it in 1960, and they said they figured out it was a real risk to civilization as we know it. They were afraid of what might happen.
Oh, that at least
and
a fair
so
bit of...
1958, NASA was formed, and they
So
militarized
the
space.
astronauts who have gone up there.
Yep, there it is. Yeah, I'm just checking to see if Mark hasn't has blocked me yet. Cool.
They walked around, and we saw them walking around. Were they walking on flat Earth or round Earth?
They were walking on a sound stage in an Air Force base somewhere.
Are you serious?
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. We tracked them. If they're walking on a sound stage in Texas somewhere, how did highly directional antennas pick up their communications and track them up there? How did that happen, Mark?
Oh, absolutely.
Like hundreds, thousands of them.
You believe that?
I don't. I just find it hard that many people are that unethical. I mean, especially when you go back and you look at Neil Armstrong as he's, and the astronauts that are going there, and they're talking about scripture and seeing God's majesty in creation, to then come back and say, oh, I've got to lie about this. That's inconsistent with Christian character.
I agree. But at the same time, look, they were military. I mean, what?
Yeah, and what does that matter? You don't think military people can be Christians? You ever heard of a what's the military chaplain? You ever heard of a chaplain? You think chaplains are non-Christian?
Heck, one of the Apollo astronauts was a lieutenant general. I feel bad for Neil. Neil became a recluse after it was all over. He drank and just did not make any public appearances. I think all the Apollo astronauts, which is why
he probably drank a ton before it. He's a military man.
Guys now, they sign the disclosure agreements and they don't have to do anything.
I don't care how small the military base or post is, you're going to have a bar.
I think the Apollo astronauts wanted to be heroes. And
I mean, just the commissaries, the little commissaries on a basic training post have a place to buy beer.
Like the movie Capricorn 1, they were told at the last minute, okay, we're not doing this.
Oh, it's the music. Oh, he's playing the music. Oh my God.
Here's why. You follow the script, you do it, you signed up for it, you signed the disclosure agreement, and that's it.
Just as the United States was the first nation to reach the moon in the 20th century, so too will we be the first nation to return astronauts to the moon in the 21st century.
I mean, how are we going to take you seriously when you couldn't even spell the host of this debate correct? You couldn't spell his name right. You couldn't get that right, Mark. How are we supposed to think that you have any credibility at all? See, that's all he's got, memes. Just memes. You just played a solid minute of memes.
Why would they want to deceive us, though? What would be the purpose of that?
Power, control,
Well,
nothing.
how are they gaining power by deceiving us?
No, retain.
You mean the government didn't have power before the moon? To gain power? Who's gaining power? I never saw Capricorn 1. I never saw that movie. I don't know why. I think I've probably seen every movie from the 60s and 70s, but I never watched that one for some reason. Andromeda Strain, I love that movie. Andromeda Strain was, I think, a first of its kind, where it was like a reality show. It was like the first sci-fi movie at that time that was like a reality show. It was like a documentary. It wasn't like a play. And the actors were fantastic. They really did a good job. But I think didn't they redo it? Didn't they redo Capricorn 1? Capricorn 1 movie. Or not Capricorn 1, hold on. Andromeda Strain movie. In 1971. Michael Crichton. Oh, that's Michael Crichton wrote that. Same guy that did what else did Michael Crichton do? Silent Running is another no, that wasn't Michael Crichton, I don't think. But I think there was a remake. I'm sure there was a remake. Man, he had a budget of 6.5 million, grossed 12 billion in North America. That's not bad. Scientific Responses. A 2003 publication by the Infectious Disease Society of America, the IDSA, noted that the Andromeda strain is the most significant, scientifically accurate, and prototypic of all films of this killer virus genre. It accurately details the appearance of a deadly agent, its impact, and the efforts to contain it, and finally the workup on its identification and clarification on why certain persons are immune to it. Yeah, it's probably the best science fiction movie I've ever seen. I swear they did a remake of it. I don't know.
Gaining power. More meaning if you've built up a civilization, especially since Copernicus, that is, you build a civilization on science. Look, science has been the trendy religion for 500 years. They have been beating all the other 5 religions over the head with textbooks for that long. And then all of a sudden, you're going to come along and say, oh yeah, by the way, you might be wrong.
Yeah, the Andromeda Strain TV miniseries, 2008. Yeah, they redid it. Had Benjamin Bratt, Christina Miller, and Ricky Schroeder.
About the biggest thing. Because remember, up until NASA went up, in 1958, I'm sorry, NASA was formed in 1958, but up until the Apollo missions, we didn't get up high enough to actually see what this really looked like.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Absolutely did. The Germans did before NASA was ever thought of. So what are you lying about it now, Mark?
So until you look, what do you really know? And all of a sudden you're going to tell people this isn't it? That undermines the scientific pillars. And then you're going to...
But I mean, to speak to that, at least, I mean, you know, I would agree there are some people who will be manipulated that way. But you look throughout Christian history, and there are people who...
You know, there are people that we couldn't see what France looked like from space or from high altitude. But they mapped it out correctly, right? So did France not exist until we had planes?
Who are willing to die,
yes,
for what they say, and to find that there are no Christians that work in the space program, and you'll find that the space program was replete with Christians,
right.
That there are none of them that are willing to stand up.
You're going to be.
That's hard to. That is just really hard to buy.
I know, and trust me when I say I wish, you know,
God, listen to this gaslighting charlatan. Listen to him. Oh, I know. It was hard for me to believe too, but I had to give in because the evidence was so overwhelming.
I wish people had more conviction to be the whistleblowers, but who are you going to go to? Who are you going to go to? You going to go to the media?
We're going to go to science, man. We're going to go to science and surveyors, people who've measured it. We're not going to go to you. You have no credibility.
New York Times, you're going to go to CNN, you're going to go to Fox?
I guess where I'm...
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much. Shout out to Stephen Jarvis. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Going with this is, or what I see that you could have a conspiracy dictated by force and that there are some people who are going to kowtow to the power.
Sure.
But when you look at what Christianity does and has done throughout history, there have been far more onerous powers with far more detrimental consequences. I'm pretty sure none of the astronauts would have lost their life for speaking out, or possibly. But even if they would,
high treason.
Even if they would, there are people throughout history.
High treason? What are you talking about?
That have shown themselves willing to do that because of what Christ requires. So the fact that there are none of those in the space program is just incredulous.
I'm not saying that there aren't some of those people. Of course, there's some fantastic Christians out there. Of course, but there are layers. Look, they've had 60 years to put this thing in place. As far as put the safeguards in place.
What safeguards? What safeguards? You've had 8 years, man, to prove you're flat Earth, and you failed.
Phone calls, monitor emails, and of course they've got leverage on everybody. I mean, look, I'm lucky I didn't get married or have kids. So many people. I mean, all you have to do is find your pressure points and then squeeze.
God knows you tried with Patricia, huh?
Your spouse, your kids, your relatives, your legacy, they can find a way to shut you up. Neil Armstrong was a perfect example. When he finally went on stage with Bill Clinton and said, Will, you've got so much more to do with this cryptic message if you can remove one of truth's protective layers. No one had any idea what he was talking about. And that was in the...
But you did, right?
Late 90s, I think, or early 2000s.
So you actually believe that all of these men and women who are Christian, and now the women involved, and they all know this, but they would not tell us. No one would mention it to anyone.
It's not that...
Yeah, see, everyone's lying but Mark. That's what an indoctrinator does. See, all those Christians who it's against their nature to lie. All those people are lying, but no, I'm telling you the truth. No, I believed it too.
They don't
you would mention it even if you mentioned it at the dinner table. And you told grandma, and grandma gonna tell somebody.
Right? Grandma, of course. People can keep secrets though. Secrets aren't kept. Oh, come on,
dude, you can't keep a blowjob a secret in Washington, man. How are you gonna keep the biggest conspiracy in history a secret?
Some people can keep secrets. People cannot keep secrets.
And you're right, the Benjamin Franklin, how do you keep a secret between 3 people? You kill 2 of them. I get that. But at the same time...
Yeah, how do you keep one Baptist from drinking all your beer on the boat when you're fishing? Invite 2 Baptists.
And the Manhattan Project was a great example, even though I think this is way less than the Manhattan Project in terms of sheer amount of people that are working on refining uranium. And that was, they refined it in 3 different locations around the country, and nobody knew about the atomic bomb until they were dropped. Secrets can be kept.
Right, that was that was at a time of war, dummy. The Apollo missions weren't.
Hey, look, we have spies. You know, anyone know any spies? We have categorically, we don't have any spies. Before a
No, we do. We most certainly do. What are you talking about? You're just completely lying about everything, Mark.
U-2 spy plane was shot down over Russia in the 1960s. We didn't have a spy plane. The SR-71 went through its inception to retirement. Didn't exist. And my favorite line was from a general, the Air Force general, when they say, oh, what are you going to replace it with? Oh, nothing. Are you kidding? Of course there's more spy planes. Of course there's more secrets.
So how do you let's just say we can get around that there's humanity could actually keep a conspiracy at that level. Right. There does seem to be, it's like, okay, so where does God play into that? Because there seems to be a divine conspiracy as well, that God is keeping us from this. And I know you've mentioned in your book that God's keeping it to where this is out at the edge, to where you can't get up that high because there's not enough oxygen and there's boundaries. Right. That God seems to be keeping this away from us. That's the only way I could actually imagine the human conspiracy working out, is that God is facilitating making it happen. But now, so you've got God wanting to be known, but God conspiring.
Wanting to know, but allowing us to mature on our own, allowing this thing.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Listen to this guy.
It's not just an instant test.
He's got an unfalsifiable narrative for everything, doesn't he?
Which can be solved immediately. In this case, it takes 5,000 years, give or take, or any civilization, whatever their level of technology. I mean, look at God. Let's go into God. His wonderful designs. I mean, putting 3% salt solution in the oceans. How great is that? Limits your ship exploration by 90-something% because you can't.
What are you talking about?
Drink the water that you're sailing on. This thing was built as a puzzle, as a test for us. Yes, God was involved, and I don't know if you want to call.
Did God build this?
In my mind, yes, God did build this.
He built it so that we wouldn't see it, wouldn't understand it.
Not right away. It's not just an instant test, which can be solved immediately. In this case, it takes 5,000 years, give or take, or any civilization, whatever their level of technology. I mean, look at God. Let's go into God. His wonderful designs. I mean, putting 3% salt solution in the oceans. How great is that? Limits.
What does that have to do with anything? God put 3% salt in the ocean. It must have been when Lot's wife turned to salt. They just dumped her in there, right?
It's your ship export.
No, God projected her, or maybe there was like a bunch of fish who were looking at that in that direction. So they got caught up in it too, right? Turned into little pillars of salt, little salt shakers.
By 90-something% because you can't drink the water that you're sailing on. This thing was built as a puzzle, as a test for us. Yes, God was his wonderful designs. I mean, putting 3% salt solution in the oceans. How great is that? Limits your ship exploration by 90-something% because you can't drink the water that you're sailing on.
What? No, it doesn't. You just bring water, man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
This thing was built as a puzzle, as a test for us. Yes, God was involved, and I don't know.
And you failed. You failed, man. You failed the test.
So did God build this?
In my mind, yes, God did build this.
He built it so that we wouldn't see it, wouldn't understand it.
Not right away, but eventually, yes.
When are we supposed to understand it?
Now, as we finally reached a technological level which could be detected. Not seriously, think of all the things that had been.
Right, we're at the technological level. Dude, we've measured it. We've sent rockets into space to look at it. We're up there now, man. Yes, we've reached that technological level decades ago. You haven't.
be put in place before all of a sudden we figured this out. Amazing HD long distance photography, high speed internet, smartphones, the social media. People can compare notes.
Are they lying to you about smartphones? Those are the same people who design smartphones that measure that do science you don't like.
On a lot of things. Without that, nothing would happen, which is why literally up until 2015, I hadn't even looked at it. I could not see the forest for the trees.
So let me just say, I'm black and slow, forgive me. So we were traveling around in a ball instead of around the ball.
Yes, but the compass works the same way, actually.
How come there have been no accidents?
No, the compass couldn't work on a flat Earth. Sorry.
That's just it. Antarctica is when you get even like going out to the edge and crashing.
Yeah, hitting the side, yeah.
Oh, because Antarctica just screams go away. I mean, the continent, once you get past the icebergs and the shoreline is 200, 300 feet of sheer ice, then the plateau, which is Antarctica, goes up to 14,000 feet. There's no indigenous plant life, no animal life. The place just screams go away.
Yeah. Yes, it's a big chunk of ice, man.
And the compass.
So what do you do with the science bases that are on the South Pole?
The military science bases?
No, the science bases. The military isn't allowed to set up shop in Antarctica except for enforcing treaties, except for enforcement.
It's not military.
Oh my God! Come on, man.
No, I work with people who do high energy gamma ray astronomy or high energy astronomy.
Everything is authorized by the governments down there.
The government isn't the military. The government and the military are not the same thing, Mark.
And by that I mean the Antarctic Treaty, which was put in place in 1959, says no private corporation ever, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much clout you have, can set up shop there ever for any reason. In fact, it's not.
Where does it say that? Where does it say that, Mark? Where does it say that? Antarctic Treaty, www.ats.aq. Antarctica shall be used for peaceful purposes only. Freedom of scientific investigation in Antarctica and cooperation. Jesus, Sean. Cooperation toward that end shall continue. Scientific observations and the result from Antarctica shall be exchanged and made freely available. Among the signatories of the treaty were 7 countries with territorial claims, sometimes overlapping. Other countries do not recognize any claims. The U.S. and Russia maintain a basis of claim. All positions are explicitly protected in Article 4, which preserves the status quo. No acts or activities taking place while the present treaty is in force shall constitute a basis for asserting, supporting, or denying a claim to territorial sovereignty in Antarctica or create any rights of sovereignty in Antarctica. No new claim or enlargement of existing claim to territorial sovereignty in Antarctica shall be asserted while the present treaty is in force. So, let's see. Original. There we go. Here's the original. That's just a summary. The governments of Antarctica recognize it's the interest in all mankind that Antarctica shall continue forever to be exclusively for peaceful purposes, not become the scene or object of international discourse. Article 1. Antarctica shall be used for people purposes. There shall be prohibited inter alia any measure of a military nature, such as the establishment of military bases and fortifications, the carrying out of military maneuvers, as well as the testing of any type of weapons. Present treaty shall not prevent the use of any military personnel or equipment for scientific research or for any other peaceful purposes. Freedom of scientific investigation. We already read that. In order to promote international cooperation and scientific investigations in Antarctica, it's provided for in Article 2. The contracting parties agree that, to the greatest extent feasible and practicable, information regarding plans for scientific programs shall be exchanged, scientific personnel shall be exchanged, and scientific observations shall be freely available. Article 4. Nothing contained in the present treaty shall be interpreted as a renunciation by any contracting party or previously asserted rights of claims of territorial sovereignty. So you can't claim part of it. So I'm not seeing anything in here about what you said. No nuclear, no nukes. Article 6. The provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the area south of 60 degrees south latitude, including all ice shelves, but nothing in the present treaty shall prejudice or in any way affect the rights or exercise of the rights of any state under international law with regard to the high seas within that area. So, yeah, you aren't prohibited from going, man. Not prohibited from going. Article 7. Each contracting party whose representatives are entitled to participate in the meetings shall have the right to designate observers. Yeah. It doesn't say anything about corporations. Isn't that what he said? Corporations.
Not even
or high energy astronomy.
Everything is authorized by the governments down there. And by that I mean the Antarctic Treaty, which was put in place in 1959, says no private corporation.
No private corporation. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about corporations at all so far. In order to facilitate the exercise of their functions under the present treaty without prejudice to the respective positions of the contracting parties, observers designated under paragraph 1. Yeah, still nothing about corporations. Article 9. Yeah, still nothing about corporations. Still nothing. So when does this happen? When am I going to see this, Mark? Because we're going through the whole thing here. Yeah, still nothing about corporations. Can be modified or amended by unanimous agreement. After 30 years after the expiration date, blah, blah, blah. Modification to the amendment, blah, blah, blah. The conference shall enter into force in accordance with the provisions, la, 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 Article 8 or 13. Yeah, nothing about corporations. Yeah, so you're lying, Mark. You're a pathetic, pathological liar.
Ever, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much clout you have, can set up shop there, ever, for any reason. In fact, it's not even up for debate until 2041.
So the South Pole Neutrino Observatory.
Yeah, it's fine.
So that's on the South Pole.
Well, it's on Antarctica. How about that?
So again, this is where I struggle with.
There's scientists down there.
I work with scientists, and I know scientists are always about how can I discover something that nobody knows.
Sure.
So these scientists that are very bright Nobel caliber scientists are knowingly telling
No, they don't know. They don't know. If they're down there on a base, you got to remember the edge of this, the Antarctic coastline, however long it takes to get to the barrier, because this isn't to scale, obviously. Because remember, Admiral Byrd flying his Navy planes for 30 years couldn't frickin' find it. Most of their
and that's another lie.
Stuff is close to the coastline, or what you would call the South Pole.
South Pole's hundreds of miles inland.
Yeah, that's not that far. Not by comparison. I mean, they could have done that in planes in the freaking 40s.
Would
I'm
the
saying
military prevent the scientists from knowing this? Are you saying?
Oh yeah, if a scientist decided, they asked, said, "Hey, can I take a plane and just start heading out that way?" Yeah, they would eventually stop.
You don't trust the military either?
Well, it's not that I don't trust them, but come on, the military lies from time to time.
But
yeah, you lie all the time, Mark. You lie all the time. You're lying right now.
I've
not
heard.
that much lying, right?
Well, come on. Look at any major American war we've ever had. There's been an ulterior motive with just about every one. Look, we live in a world of deception. You would at least agree to that.
I agree that there are people who can deceive, but because some of what you're talking about, I'm actually building an experiment right now where we're going to fly a balloon around the Antarctic continent.
Cool.
So, in your view and my view, that's a very different journey.
Yes, it is. It would be extremely long.
It would be extremely long.
Right.
Roughly what time scale are you talking about there?
How fast does it go?
It's whatever the winds go.
I don't know. Even if you did jet stream winds at 110, 120, it would take a long, long, long time. I don't know.
Okay.
But it would take...
Yeah, you don't know anything because you've not researched anything.
At least 5 times longer. Maybe even...
I mean, he's been at this for, what, 8 years? Since 2015, he said? That's 9 years. Almost 10 years. And he doesn't know?
10 times longer. Because the Antarctic, according to this, would be the size of Australia, roughly. And the Antarctic on this would be, at least 5 to 10 times longer.
So the fact that we can get a balloon there around in 30 or 40 days.
Have you done it yet?
I work with people who have, and we will do this in a few years. So
love to see it.
Okay.
Love to see the test.
You could probably see it online if you weren't just looking at flat Earth stuff. If you were actually searching for the truth, Mark, you would have found it by now.
How does an eclipse work?
So in the globe model,
how does the eclipse work?
The eclipse is, you've got two types of eclipses. One where the more common that most people are familiar with is where the Earth's shadow goes onto the moon. So you got the sun, you got the Earth, you've got the moon, and the shadow of the Earth is roughly the same size as the moon, a little bit larger. But so the light from the sun will be, or the light from the sun will be shadowed by the Earth, and you'll get a shadow on the moon. You can also have a solar eclipse where the Earth and the moon and the sun are here, and then the sun.
Well, what's the moon?
The light is blocked by the moon, and there's a small region on the Earth where the sunlight cannot hit. In fact, I got to see that last year up in Oregon, or I guess it was 2017 in Oregon.
Where
it was
were
a
you?
pretty spectacular sight.
Where'd you go?
It was over around the Young Life camp up there in Oregon. So,
wow.
Middle
Cool.
Oregon,
I was in Salem. Same time.
Okay, yeah, so it's a very similar place. So
Do you agree with
fantastic. If you can ever go see a total solar eclipse, find some way to do it. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, don't.
So do you agree with him as far as how an eclipse works? Do you agree with that?
No, and I saw the same.
You don't agree with it? With Dr. Jeff?
No, I don't.
He's a
Can you imagine
doctor.
that? I know.
Well,
So he doesn't agree with the astronomer. Okay.
that means I've studied much. It doesn't mean I'm right necessarily.
Why don't you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. Only because it can't be possible, of course, in something like this, because we're talking about a sun that can't be hundreds of
I have one fly that's pissing me off.
thousands of miles wide and a moon that can't be 2,000 miles wide. I'm saying that the sun and the moon, and it was gorgeous. I mean, it was. And any of you guys know, I mean, if you caught the 95%.
Right, and you can't explain it with a flat Earth, Mark. I think that's the point. You can't explain that with a flat Earth.
No, don't
Yeah,
even.
being
No,
there
you've got to
right-
be
during
there.
totality
Be
is
there
very
for the
different than
blackout
around
zone.
it, yeah.
It's gorgeous. But that would be, being that it's gorgeous, it's also just, you just black out part of the sun. It's easy enough. No different. It's no different. In fact, what I was watching it reminded.
Oh, you just black out part of the sun. That's all you do. It's just easy, man. It's all you just black it out. Take a Sharpie marker, scribble on it.
Reminded me of how we look at the moon. We see, a quarter moon and a crescent moon and a full moon. But we always, whenever we refer to the sun, it's always a sun. There's no such thing as a quarter sun and a half sun until.
Yes, that's because a quarter moon means that the sun is illuminating half of the sun, and we can only see a quarter of that because it's perpendicular. It's 90 degrees to the moon, according to us. And a full moon means that the sun is directly behind us and shining full light on the moon on the full face. So you're not very smart, Mark. The sun wouldn't have phases because the sun doesn't receive a shadow. The sun emits light. So you don't even know what phases are.
It gets the eclipse, but it's so bright you can't see it anyway. And then all of a sudden you see it and it's like, oh, wow. And, the same mechanism for the moon is used for the sun.
Amazing.
Amazing. No, it's not, Jesse. It's not amazing.
My question though, when they go to the moon and coming back,
right?
They show that the Earth is round, and they talk about how nice it is and what's going on. They've never shown a flat Earth.
No, they haven't. Amazing.
But when they
amazing, isn't it? And as a matter of fact, we also got aerial photographs of Antarctica as a continent, not a disc, not a wall.
Show that at some point coming back?
Well, you're making an assumption that they were on the moon in the first place.
Oh yeah, you don't.
No, we aren't making an assumption. They were there, Mark. We aren't assuming anything. You assume a flat Earth.
I don't believe they.
Oh, good Lord, no. The Apollo, and by that I mean the Apollo footage from Apollo 8 all the way through Apollo 17 has dated badly. It has aged in the film world really, really badly. There's a lot of
No, it hasn't. What are you talking about?
Inconsistencies. I could show you so many images. I just point out all these things that were wrong.
Right, your opinion. You point out things that you think are wrong but aren't. That's what you do, Mark. You just give your opinion.
Scientist?
I am not a scientist.
But he is.
Yeah, he is. And you're arguing against science.
He is a scientist.
Well, who told you what you believe is true if you're not a scientist?
Oh, so if you wear a white coat, you're automatically right. You get that stamp of approval. Neil deGrasse Tyson said that, He said...
No, if you go through 20 years of college and you pass all your tests and write your thesis and get your doctorate and the university trust your level of thinking enough to award you with a degree, and then other companies think you're smart enough to work for them. See, that's how you become a scientist, Mark. Putting on a lab coat is what flat earthers do to try and look smart.
Science is right whether you believe in it or not. I thought that was pretty arrogant. I'm not saying you're arrogant, but I thought it was.
Yes, it is. It's correct whether you believe it or not, because science verifies things through evidence and measurements.
No, the truth, I would modify that. Science is a way of discerning the truth about how the world works. Truth is true whether you believe it in or not.
That's not what he said.
Well,
he was referring
Neil deGrasse Tyson and I come from a very different worldview, although we both appreciate science a lot.
But where he was going was that, and I think science has taken liberties. Again, no offense to you.
Now, I think what he said is something like, science doesn't care about your opinion.
I'm sure you're a wonderful pillar that you can't gaze upon directly, but science has taken liberties, and that is, you want to tell me what the boiling temperature of water is at sea level? Great, fantastic. You want to tell me what the core of the Earth looks like when the deepest hole ever drilled is only 8 miles? No, you don't get to do that. And I don't.
Okay. What does France look like there, Mark? What does France look like? Have you been there?
Care if you talk about seismic radar or whatever, because we've been seeing the cross section of the Earth, which supposedly is 4,000 miles to the center, and we always see the same thing, the red and the orange and the yellow and the white bands, right? All going over the center. And that has been there forever, but the old textbooks used to say in small print at the bottom, we don't really actually know what's down there, we're just making an educated guess, which I think is fair, but eventually that text...
It's actually, we go by what we've learned through seismology and geology. Yes.
Was removed, and then it became gospel. Not to mix it up.
Well, but there's a difference there.
Can't remember who has he's an Australian. It's not Wally, it's somebody else who has a very good, might be Ruhif, very good video on seismology and how we know the Earth is a sphere because of it.
there because when we're first trying to investigate something, there's lots of ideas. We don't know, but the more we study, the more the data does point to certain things.
Point. But science hates putting a question mark in a book. They would never release a book with a cross section of the Earth with just a giant question mark inside. They hate that. It's like, no, we are the authority. We've got the coats. We're going to put our stamp. This is what we think it is.
No, it's coats have nothing to do with it, Mark. See, that's your way of saying, oh yeah, they're just wearing coats, so they're scientists. You're an idiot, Mark.
Again, I've worked with enough scientists that it's not we're the authority, you got to trust us. Part of what's beautiful about science is that you can go out and replicate the experience. Now,
absolutely, good point there, Jeff. Yes, science is repeatable, science is verifiable, science is measurable, science is falsifiable. Nothing about flat Earth is any of those.
Obviously, the bigger the experiment, the harder it is to replicate. Right. But here's one I would love that I think we could do. I know you've looked at how can you measure this, how can you test this.
Right.
Let's go back to the moon landing.
Right.
If the moon landing is correct as it's described,
yes,
then there's a buggy on the moon.
Oh boy.
There's retroreflectors on the moon.
Mm.
Yes, that we can point lasers at any angle to the moon, and they reflect directly back. That's how a retroreflector works. That's not how a disk works, or a sphere works, or any other shape.
We ought to be able to take a laser.
Oh, no. You don't get to pull out that. Mythbusters already did it. Fire the reflector, fire the laser.
Why don't we do that?
Because Mythbusters already did it. We believe that anybody that's shooting the reflector, look, the amount of photons that would come back from that thing.
So you trust Mythbusters and not the people who have actually done it with the equipment needed to do it correctly?
Even if you could hit it, would be negligible at best. And you're leaning towards, like, we're already expecting the photons to come back, therefore it's the laser reflector.
No, that's not how it works, Mark. The laser is sent out in pulses, in a timed pulse, kind of like a code, kind of like Morse code, or information is sent with the timing of the dots and dashes, I guess you can call it, with the pulses of light. And we get back that same pulse. We get back that same pattern. See, you pulse the light out. It just isn't a solid beam of light. They turn it on and off at a certain rate and a certain pattern. And we receive that pattern back, Mark.
It's there. And I'm saying, no. There's way too many other things. Even if you could go down the laser reflector line, there's way too many things about the moon that don't make sense. Like, for example, why did Apollo 8 through Apollo 16 go there and back, and nobody took shots of the Earth? There was no blue marble shot until Apollo 17, until the last second on the way back. Or the Van Allen radiation belt question.
Say what?
What I love, and that is, I'll ask you, are the Van Allen radiation belts?
Maybe because they weren't concerned with taking photographs.
It's deadly.
Could be.
Yes or no? In your opinion.
Deadly in what sense?
Deadly, like people will die.
To be honest, I just haven't looked at it closely.
Right.
I know there are radiation belts up there. It's a matter of how much radiation is there.
That's fair. And that is, look, the Apollo missions went round trips multiple times to that thing. Nobody died. Nobody got radiation poisoning. Nobody even got cancer. There's still 5 of these guys walking around today, right? How did they do that with aluminum and plastic shielding? And you say, well, then they're probably not that deadly, right?
No.
Aluminum plastic shielding.
Again, there's if you're going to say the retroreflector is more complicated, even with a little bit of knowledge, it's like what radiation is, dosage and time scale and all that sort of stuff.
Got it.
So this would be somewhat a pointless debate here because I don't have the details.
That's okay. You don't have to in this case because
I need to ask. We ran out of time, so I need to ask some black people questions. Dumb questions.
Those are
Mark, do you believe in gravity?
I do.
I wrote down a lot of good questions I want to ask you.
I do.
You believe in gravity?
I do.
And you believe that too, right?
Yes.
Would we need that?
Mark believes in gravity?
For this?
That's interesting.
The flat Earth?
Gravity?
Yeah. On the inside of all, the gravity would be in there to hold us.
Yeah, that with a combination of air pressure, which is a whole other
just
thing.
Explain gravity.
The air pressure? How come things weigh roughly the same weight in a vacuum chamber as they do outside of one, Mark?
Operates by a different
mechanism. See, you almost got it. He was that close. That close.
Than what it would say to make a moon orbit around Jupiter. So we both agree there's gravity there. We would disagree on the mechanism behind it.
Do you believe in aliens?
Not in that they came from Venus or Jupiter or Mars. I think that, are there things flying around there? Sure, why not?
So are the aliens here with us, or are they flying around?
That's a great question. And that is, I think there's older versions of us. I think that, older civilizations, things that predate us. I don't think we're the first people to rent this apartment by a long shot.
And so are they out here, or are they in there?
Tough call. Some of them may be inside, some may be outside. I don't know. I'm really dying to know.
What do you say?
I would say if God created...
How about research it, Mark? If you're dying to know, the way you find out is you go out looking for the answers. You just don't talk to other people who don't know.
this earth for us to be here. It's up to him to whether he did it somewhere else or not. So I don't know the answer to that question. I think it's a great scientific and a great theological question, though.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering, when I was going over this last night, wondering, where are the aliens? You know, where are they, inside here or outside?
Well,
I think there's
from one aspect, if there are aliens out there, traveling through space is a really hard thing. Space is really, really big.
My theory on aliens is they're the ones who created the flat earth, the whole flat earth concept. See, they want to know that when they take over, they need to know, because like there's only a limited number of them, right? When they take over, they're going to need somebody to run the equipment, and they're going to need a food source. And they created the flat earth to see who's dumb enough to believe it. That's the food. The people who aren't smart enough, who are smart enough to not believe it, those are the people who are going to be slaves.
Do you believe in aliens?
I don't know. Like I said, it depends on whether God created them or not.
But do you believe right now whether God, do you believe there exists?
If you press me, I'd say probably not.
I'm pressing you.
Okay, I would say no.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if God did it, but I'm going to say no. We're the only life in it.
And you say?
I'm saying that there's other civilizations, previous civilizations that there are remnants still lying around. So no, in that the aliens are not from another planet. They're right here with us.
So you're saying the aliens are human beings,
our ancestors,
who were here before us.
Yeah.
And they've managed to get out of this ball?
I don't know. Maybe they did. Honestly, if it was me though, if I was building it, I wouldn't let them out.
You would not let them
No,
out?
I'd let them go underground.
I wouldn't let them out. So they may be under this earth.
Yeah, maybe. Sure.
So I gotta ask something else. So you believe the aliens, our ancestors, are maybe under this earth?
Possibly, sure. There's remnants of them all over. Sunken cities off Japan, sunken cities off India, Bimini Road, Bosnian pyramids. Take a pick.
Hey, what do you say to that?
I say humanity is very resourceful. We built lots of things, and the earth changes while we're here.
So Mark, tell me one more time, why would people make up this lie that the earth is round? What would be the purpose?
Mark is one of those people who thinks that people back then couldn't possibly have any kind of technology. No technology back then. No, it had to be aliens. Which kind of brings up an important point. You know, they say that the people that the builders of the pyramids in Egypt were aliens. Aliens from outer space. They built the pyramids because they can possibly have the technology to build a pyramid, to lay rocks on top of each other. But nobody questions who built the pyramids in Mexico. Nobody. We know those are Mexicans, because Mexicans are pretty resourceful. Which also brings to another point. And this is going to seem a little anti-Semitic, but it's humor, and it's not meant to be anti-Semitic. Who were in charge over there? Jews? They just outsourced the job to Mexico. Yeah, the Jews were the ones that built the pyramids. They just outsourced it to Mexico.
If the earth is really flat.
It's not that they're making it up. All they're doing is keeping an existing secret, meaning it was built by someone or something. I will call it the divine, and all we did was, when we figured it out in 1960, we just figured it's like, you know what, we're going to keep this thing under wraps until we can figure out a way.
When we figured it out in 1960. Science didn't do anything till 1960. God, what a liar. What a completely dishonest maggot.
Way to give it to the public. And I think we're running into that right now.
How do you respond to that, Jeff?
I guess I would say, as I read Scripture, I find that God reveals himself in the Scriptures. As we read the Bible, we figure out truth about God. God's also revealed himself in creation. As we study creation, we see his glory revealed. He tells us to look to the heavens. They reveal his glory. And so I think what we find scientifically about how the world works, that it's a globe, and that really is the most consistent way to see how he's revealed himself throughout creation.
How are conspiracy theorist people created? I
don't know.
Yeah, you would weigh more if you laid down, because more air pressure, they'd have more contact with your body. Yeah. I mean, he looks like a cult. He looks like a cult member, doesn't he? Just this.
I don't know that they're created, and there's a part of me.
Just this simple, happy look on his face.
That I'll be honest, I sympathize with you in this sense.
You feel sorry for him?
No.
Smiling, happy people. Isn't that what REM said? Something like that.
That's where I relate to what you're thinking.
Right.
Whether that's empathy or sympathy, I forget which. But,
empathy, I think.
Fair enough. But there's a lot of times where it's like, I've been told, and it's like, wait a second, is that really true? And I get that's the question you're asking in a lot of ways. And I think you're a little more drawn to think that there are conspiracies. But I think that is a God actually wants us to be asking, hey, what's going on here? What's going on? But he also, and this may sound like I'm going against you, but he wants us to be drawn to what is the data say, and let's live by whatever the truth is. And I think what I would love to see is maybe have a discussion and say, what is it that we could actually measure that we would both agree on that might settle this, or at least lean it more heavily one way or the other. And maybe let's go out and do that so that we don't have to keep arguing, from where we're arguing.
Mark will never do that. He's been invited on to experiments. He refuses because he doesn't want to know the truth.
Someone said today that we all agree what it means.
So let me ask, I noticed that a lot of young white males and some females believe in it.
See, people who understand science, their pockets ain't so deep. But, gullible people, anti-government gullible people, anti-military, anti-NASA, man, they really want to see your work continue. So they just give you a lot of money.
This flat earth thing, right?
Yes.
So do you know why it's mostly attracted to young white males and some white females?
Boy, I don't know.
I think I got
If I knew about flat earth when I was homeless, see, I had a phone. I had a smartphone. I could stream on YouTube. That was back when YouTube, you could still stream live and stuff. I was one of the first live streamers in YouTube that, or content creators that showed my little home grow for marijuana. But nobody cared. But if I knew about flat earth back then when I was homeless, dude, I would have been a flat earther. Fuck yeah. I would have conned these people. I would have grifted every penny out of their pocket.
I'm not so sure it is. I know that there are a fair number of, like Kyrie Irving, LeBron James. There are some fairly black people who've also thought that as well. So I don't know whether it's exclusive.
It's not exclusive.
I know why white males, right? There are, black people gonna follow you no matter what it's good for you. But I know why the white young males and females believe in this theory of flat Earth.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
What?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Tell me.
Is the whole flat butt thing?
No.
Did we just say that on TV?
Yeah, I could have gone worse. Seriously, that's not where you're going?
Because the people of color hate white people now. And white people feeling pushed out,
so
they're going to go to the flat Earth.
Oh, so it's serious.
It's a form of escape.
Oh,
right.
That makes sense, right?
People do things for a lot of reasons.
Why would you believe that you're a white male or white female, and the color people hate you? You got to find somewhere to go.
Well, I mean, it is.
That's to the psychology.
Yeah, Jesse Peterson thinks that all black people hate all white people, and all white people hate all black people. That's what he thinks. Because he's a right-wing piece of trash.
Just to analyze. I'm gonna deal with each individual.
You're right.
Person,
it is in some ways it is a form of escapism because it is a very interesting story. It's a rabbit hole like a lot of things.
How are conspiracy theorists people created?
How are
because I don't think we were born that way. Something happened along the way that convinced you.
I think it's
something else.
We all know that it's a world of deception. People lie about a lot of things. I mean, there's lying in politics.
Yes, people lie about a lot of things. Mark, like you, about deleting your channel if someone sends you proof. That was a lie, wasn't it? Every time you said it, that was a lie.
In business and entertainment and sports.
The only thing I would dispute there is I agree that there are a lot of people who lie. There's also some great things about humanity. People are
very...
no,
I'm not
saying
that.
It's both and that's what I think any worldview has to describe or has to explain. Why are there the beauty of humanity as well as the depravity of humanity?
You're absolutely... No, I'm not saying it's all doom and gloom. No, not by a long shot. I'm saying that everyone knows that we lie about a lot of stuff, but everyone's got that imaginary line we draw. It's like, okay, I'm only going to look at the lies on that side of the line, and everything out here is unicorns and rainbows and puppies. And then when
unicorns don't exist, just so you know.
No?
No, we'll get into that.
So, but that line eventually gets moved. So you're asking how conspiracy people get formed. That line gets moved again and again.
I say puppies don't exist. Prove to me they do.
Again, it's like, okay, there's these new lies or new secrets or whatever, and then of course the conspiracies, and it gets bigger and bigger, and then it kind of snowballs. Because once you believe, for me, it was like JFK, which was, the Oliver Stone epic JFK from 1991, I think, 1992, where once I saw that, literally, until that point, I didn't think people lied. Mm-hmm. I mean, positions of power, it's like, no, why would anyone in power lie about anything? But once I saw that, it's like, okay, if I'm open to that, what else am I open to?
Wow, you are a gullible. Man, you are a perfect candidate for flat earth. Just gullible as heck. I don't believe anybody could lie. I mean, how gullible are you, dude? Seriously.
And this opens you up to everything.
That's very interesting. Winding down question. We almost on. Do you believe, how the tower buildings were blown up by people?
9/11.
Yeah, we're not going to watch any more of this. So, yeah. So anyway, that was the debate between Numbskull here and a astrophysicist. So nothing I didn't expect. Yeah, Flatzoid is so lame. We're watching old Mark Sargent vids. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no hope for Flatzoid or the little cult he has. They are ignorant, proud of it, and have no intention on changing their status. So anyway, I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to either watch the 6th episode of Shogun, or I'm going to rewatch the first episode of Outer Range, which is on Prime. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's really good, and I'm not going to say a damn word about it. Don't watch the second season. Watch the first season. This show right here. It's science fiction. It's frickin' awesome. And the second season is out now. Here's the first season. But it's excellent. It really is. So let me share that. And I want to watch the first season over again because I missed a lot of stuff in the first season. I realized I did, so I want to see I might just watch the last few episodes of the first season. It's awesome, man. Yeah. The ending of season 1 is just will blow your fucking mind. Sorry about the language. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. As always, be seeing you. Oh, and Shogun, the remake of Shogun they recently did is really good too. A lot better than the first one. The one from the 80s or 70s. A lot better. So if you like Japanese culture, if you like stuff about Japan, it's an excellent story. And the story itself is just written very well. It's acted very well. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hit like, subscribe, click the bell notification, drop some cash if you can. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Be seeing you.